The Wrestling Mayhem Show. Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndieWrestling.us and IndieWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you got to do, make it last. Wait for the perfect.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, 917 Tuesdays. We've been talking about professional wrestling. I am Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the social medias here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we got a fun one with you. We do not have the regular crew because we're very crowded on this show this week. Listen, maybe 2 months ago, a friend of the show that was on here a few months ago said, hey, I want to bring the team on. And I was like, that's great. And then as I keep doing shows with them, more members seem to show up, and they all showed up here in the studio. So I'm going to start with Glenn Spectre of the Troublemakers.
I'm the BOSS, boss of professional wrestling, Glenn Spectre, with the NTRL, natural, Canaan Kristopher, pan that camera, with the PTTB, platinum, Tyler, Brooks, and the savage, Lexus Synn. We are the Troublemakers.
There you go, and that's why I let you have that. Glenn Spectre back with us. All the people, all the newbies, all the kids are here. This is going to be something, and it's probably going to go 3 hours. So I'm warning everybody right now, because just with Glenn, it went really long. We were here until like 2 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
But yes, no, I'm glad to have you back with us.
I'm glad to be back.
Yes,
I love this show.
A lot has happened. You've been everywhere. You're going to be everywhere. We'll be talking about that here in the show, of course. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. If you have any questions, we're keeping an eye on all the social medias, wherever we might be streaming, over on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. I'm going to figure out why this computer went to sleep, and we'll get back to that, too. So thank you, everybody that is a part of the show tonight with us. This is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, and we do talk about the generalized wrestling as well, but I want you to get to know our friends here later in the show, too. But the biggest thing, I don't know... First I want to ask, what is the biggest thing? Money in the Bank, NXT, or Rhea Ripley coming back last night?
That's tough. I mean, like, Rhea Ripley's thing was huge. It was all,
let's start with that then.
It was all over social media.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing, I think the thing about it is the angle's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, that's always going to, at the end of the day, we're storytellers, we're entertainers. I always say we sell emotions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole jilted lover thing is, it's just money. It's a money storyline.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And it's something they've like spun off of her. I don't know if she was actually injured or if this was just time off for the wedding. Because she did just get married a few weeks ago with to Buddy Matthews, who also was out with a quote unquote injury with AEW. Either way, the time has been great with her off because they've been doing so much with Liv and with that. At the star of the show is obviously Carlito, in my opinion. Very subtle, but just there's a room key there, and everybody's staring at it. And he's just like, that's cool. And like, no, he's like their like new R-Truth.
Yeah,
but they actually let him into the clubhouse on purpose.
And he's kind of had a real revival of his career because of it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk out of turn. Do you feel like it's almost like is his role similar? I'm trying to think of like what the angle, what
comic relief.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He's kind of the other women's angle that I think is just awesome is the Toni Storm stuff. Mm-hmm. And is Carlito kind of the Luther of the group? Like he's there to deliver like a one-line comedy, like he's there to pop a comedy angle. Mm-hmm. Did you guys see the Toni Storm promo that they with Luther with his comedy spot?
Which one?
The one that just dropped.
Oh,
it was he was polishing the belt, but his back was turned. while Tony Storm and
Mariah May.
yeah, they were doing their bosom nuzzling thing, and so he's in the corner and he's polishing the title, but he's turned around, so his arms just moving really fast, and and Tony, they turn around and they're like Luther, and he turns around and he's just got the belt, and he's smiling, like it's that he has that comedy spot where he just delivers like, for him it's not even necessarily a line, it's like one punchy thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, essentially the punchline guy.
And that feels
the Tyler Brooks of the
there you go.
of the angle.
I mean, that's really like he's been like the guy. That seems like the most he's done because he's just kind of like that guy that shoots the look when they're like getting all touchy feely, right? Throughout the whole thing. So like it's that little accent on it, and that's what I love. It's like, what the hell is like? So I feel like a lot of wrestling fans would be like, what is Luther even doing here, right? He was, he's got this history, this deathmatch guy, and was doing stuff with Serpentico and stuff for a while, and just like screaming and throwing him at people, which was also amazing.
My literal favorite tag team from that era. That's the only problem I have with the whole Tony Storm angle is that like
it took that away.
It took Chaos Project from me, which
yes.
if you were like. It was so funny. Like you could wrestle any tag team. It's like, oh, there's like FTR and and all these great tag teams in like AEW and WWE. And I'm like, it's like the Usos, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I would want I'm an idiot, so I would just be like, they're like, oh, book your dream match. I'm like Troublemakers versus Chaos Project, and I'm not even kidding.
They were the highlight of AEW Dark. Like I loved AEW Dark so much for like those weird teams like that, and just the off the hook commentary of just Excalibur and Taz have been at this, and it's been way too late of a night.
And great, like I said, the entrance is incredible. They had such a cool entrance, and I think Serpentico is probably one of the weirdly most underrated workers that's currently like on television.
Absolutely.
I just don't think people notice because he does so many jobs that he consistently has amazing matches actually, and he works to the level of anybody's in the ring with.
I love the time where Serpentico was had his maskless gimmick as well, and he was like on the same episode of Dark with both characters, and they definitely recorded on the same day. Oh yeah, workhorse. I think we call that these days the cowpoke Paul.
Yes.
Yes. Because I have worked 2 shows in 2 weeks where cowpoke ended up in 2 different matches.
I was on a show where I wrestled cowpoke before he wrestled somebody else.
Exactly. Like he is just that his obsession with his cage match numbers are nuts. But
I'm fine with cage match, but I it's so funny. Like I look back on that, and it's like I never got obsessed with the numbers because. I probably a third of all my actual matches are on cage match because there's just like back when I was first started, it's just
obscure promotions with absolutely no outward knowledgeability and stuff.
Yes.
No, we had that problem too when we were starting Thursday night fights. We're like, how do we get on cage match? And then just kind of naturally happened after a while. It's like people.
And I think you can send stuff in, but like
I send up stuff and they're like, hey, we'd like to see who won. I'm like, oh, of course you do. And I never got back to it.
Yeah,
so.
I know you can send stuff in, but I've just never done it. I probably should, but it's like I have a million others. When you're trying to promote yourself as a wrestler, it's like there's a million other social media things you have to do, and that one is just one that unfortunately for me has fallen by the wayside.
Honestly, I think the promotion should. Right, I think that
Agreed.
should be like I think if you're a promotion trying to figure out the most holistic way to market yourself, making sure you're listed on there because that's like the Wikipedia of pro wrestling, right? Other than actually the Wikipedia, it has pro wrestling on it, and your promotion should get on there too. And that's another sketchy thing. I have a friend that knows how to navigate Wikipedia for wrestlers. By the way, if anybody needs, I can.
I do actually. It's so funny. I've been trying to get that together. Like I had 2 friends who were trying to write Wikipedia pages for me, and it's such a weird process.
Yeah.
So we'll talk after.
A friend of mine was there was some wrestler had a name change, and she got in an argument with the person. With people keep changing it back to the old name. It was like, no, his name is this. It was like, no, it's still this. It was like, and like her points are all like out of whack because of this like Wikipedia feud that's happened. I've never gone into the editing because it was always like, well, the stuff I would edit, I'm connected with, so I don't feel comfortable being an editor because I know you're not supposed to like edit. You can't like Glenn Spectre can't edit the Glenn Spectre or Troublemakers page or anything like that. It's just like, hey friend, can you just log into? Can you become a Wikipedia person for me? that kind of thing maybe. So, but anyways, back to it. So last night, I think we were talking before the show about the stretch angle, the stretch segment that they did, and everybody peeking like Scooby-Doo style around the corner. It feels like a throwback to the Trish Stratus Triple H, like I'll show you this move.
This is like these guys may be a little tiny bit too young to get this, but it all feels attitude era to me. The Tony Storm angle thing that I talked about, and everything going on with the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley thing. It's such a throwback.
Absolutely. When it was first happening, and I saw it was like, oh, we're doing this angle around the relationships and everything. It almost feels like one of those terrible Divas era, because it seemed like everything was like half their stuff was fighting over a guy, right? Which is, really, it felt really diminishing in the time. But this feels like Liv's got way more agency than any of those girls had when they did those kinds of angles like 20 years ago, right? So, and obviously we're going to have...
I'm sure somebody could still make the argument, but I mean,
absolutely,
it's very entertaining.
It is. It definitely is. Like there's motivation there. There's a lot happening. Like there's the way they've the
overall storytelling is way better.
Absolutely,
way better.
Absolutely. They're on all cylinders right now. And it's just and there's just little bits week to week, that you can put in there. And the awkward, oh, look, they happen to fall this way, kind of thing, which has
also,
been...
like, the social media stuff is going crazy, too.
Oh, yeah, because
Liv is just popping off on, like, all her social medias.
Didn't she go through and do that creepy thing where you like everything on somebody's Instagram?
Everything. She liked everything.
It's just like, what do girls do to go too far on social media? And I'm going to do every single thing.
Or just tag him in everything.
Yes.
He does. Yeah, just, he comments back, so it's like, if people are on social media will see that, too. It's like, oh... more layers. That's that
4D chess happening there with storytelling. I love that.
I think the best response was when Dominic put the Bill Clinton picture on his Instagram.
What is this? Tell me more.
It was like the whole I did not have sex with that woman.
I did not have relationships with that woman.
Yeah,
I need to bring that up now.
It depends on what the definition of is.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Maybe that will be the conversation with a mommy next week. So, because all we got was, I don't know if there was any post show, because I don't know. It feels like USA cuts that show off so quick anymore.
Because as I'm just not because I'm just biased, but I was sitting there and I kind of feeling she was coming out. I was like, okay, cool. It's probably kind of ruined for me because I kind of figured. But it was like in the ring, cut to black, and then they did the Instagram thing where they're just walking up the ramp, and he's like, I'm trying to explain, I'm trying to fix it. And she pushes him away and then goes back. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And I don't know if that's on purpose or not. Maybe it is something with USA. I feel like do they not have the, hey, let us go until we go kind of thing? Like, I get at Fox because there's affiliates and everything like that. But hey, we remember when there was like 12-minute overruns every freaking week on Raw, right?
It makes you want more.
It definitely does.
So, because I'm texting one of my good buddies, I'm like, I want more. I'm upset this is over already.
Or you're going to Instagram to find out what the fuck happened.
I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, exactly. So it's freaking genius. It does bring you all in there. So I'm already getting comments about you guys on the chat room. We'll get to them when we get to the segment about you guys later. I'll try to hold on to these for you guys. So settle down. We'll get to them. Anyways, no, that was a really big thing. While we're talking about memes, we were talking about before, one of my favorite memes. I had not finished. Obviously, we've been seeing clips throughout the week of the WrestleMania documentary. I finally got to finish it here before the show. But my favorite thing is just the view of The Rock and just the things The Rock is like. And then I told him we should call it the Attitude Era and things like that. It's just so.
I told Damien not to kick out.
Dude, it's gonna be perfect for when he makes his political run. It's really important.
Oh, absolutely.
Embellishment is a huge part of American politics. He's gonna do great.
Yes. I mean, you have that image right there. And it's and have you ever watched any of the documentary or?
I have not had a chance to yet, but based on what you were saying earlier when we had our pre-show conversation, what I would say is this: everybody's a worker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you're in the business, like this idea, like it's like I try honestly, I really do try to all my stories to be like absolutely legit to my memory when I tell shoot stories. But at the end of the day, we're all selling ourselves too.
Yeah.
Like this might be the way he remembers it.
He's not in Hulk Hogan territory at this point.
Not
right?
yet. But I mean,
I feel like
I
who
called
killed
it the
WCW
Attitude
was.
Era is a little bit.
Yeah. No. That's the meme. That's the meme.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not. The actual thing is
Yeah,
like
that would be very Hulk Hogan.
like this is coming off as like the way we did WrestleMania 40 was all my idea, kind of thing. Sorry, you were saying over.
He's in that Who Killed WCW, and I'm like watching. I'm like, why are you here? You weren't even here for this. Why are you here?
You know what, Lexus? I'm on the same page. I thought. By the way,
Well, you did produce it, so
and I guess that means you have a right to be on there.
Yeah,
but I thought that was really interesting. If we want to talk about that, I got a lot of opinions on that.
I have not watched it yet, so tell me about that. Yeah. How'd it come off?
So I loved the Monday Night Wars were huge for me because I was training I was training to wrestle during the Monday Night Wars. It was one of the things at Fight House. That's what my house was nicknamed back in the day because we had it was me and my buddy Mike, who was an MMA fighter, and so we rented this house in the South Side Slopes, and we had we moved all of our training stuff.
Were a lot of holes in the wall?
What's that?
Were a lot of holes in the wall?
We trashed that place. We destroyed that place. Like holes in the wall. I mean, like we also never took out garbage and stuff like that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Something's living here, kind of.
It was grody, dude. It was because we were really like we were hyper focused on wrestling and training and stuff like that, and things like cleaning and chores were not.
This is on TikTok and Instagram. There's something called Boy House, where a girl goes in and like interviews somebody that just has like the trashiest house, and like, wait, why is your bed just like a mattress on the floor that has stuff on half of it? And the things like you would be on that.
Yeah. Oh my. So I started the woman who would eventually become my wife actually started dating me during the Fight House era.
Oh,
and,
that's a big test.
Staying at Fight House was pretty much almost never an option. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just wasn't it was not gonna happen.
No,
Fight House was an absolute disaster. But
anyways,
the Monday night we would watch every Monday. We would watch Nitro and then Raw, or the other way around because at that point Nitro was doing bad enough that. They did a replay.
Yep, I love the replay.
And so we'd watch Raw, then we'd watch Nitro, and then we'd watch AAA and CMLL on Galavision. And so we would be like a whole night of pro wrestling. It was really great. So watching the death of WCW, like obviously I have my own opinions, but I wasn't there and I wasn't working there. The part for me that was the only part of it that was so troubling for me was I was walking into a business I was about to debut. And there was already a big place where you could actually make money and make a living doing this. Gone. You know what I mean? Watching it, I thought Booker T was probably one of the most honest in terms of at the very end, after 4 or 5 episodes, however long it is, they asked all these guys like who killed WCW, and everybody's kind of like, well, it was like this combination of like nobody wanted to like point the finger at anybody, and Booker T is just like Eric Bischoff was the money man. It's him. And it was like he just said Eric Bischoff like flat out. Like whether you believe that or not, and I think there's some argument to be made that they just the station didn't want them anymore.
Yeah, that was literally there was new management, and they simply did not wrestling. It was a I don't know if they cover this in the documentary, but I've read books, seen documentaries over the years. It was they. Despite WCW was still making very, 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 very good ratings for cable at the time, and they're like, this is not what we want our station to be.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, and they also shoved, one thing I didn't know was that they shoved a bunch of corporate debt onto WCW that wasn't even theirs.
Yep, the structure was theirs. They never got the money for the pay-per-views. That wasn't included with what WCW. So when you talk about like, they were losing money, they were not getting a net positive off pay-per-views. Yeah. They were putting expenses in and then nothing.
But I do think there's something to be said for and one of my favorite books from back in that era was the guy who did Wrestle Crap did a book called The Death of WCW.
That's one I read. A lot of numbers.
Great, really cool book. And I do think there is something to be said for the show just not being very good. And at the end of the day, if your show's not good, no one's going to pick you up afterwards, stuff like that. Like despite the ratings the show was doing, it was in some sorry shape by the end. Like I remember watching it and being like, geez, it became kind of a night and day difference. You know, the one thing you could always count on with WCW though is that cruiserweight, the opening was always going to be a good cruiserweight match.
Absolutely. So aside from that, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with WWE. Maybe a little bit. We actually do have a voicemail from one of our longtime Patreon supporters that we're going to listen to here on the show. And I realize not everybody has headphones, so this might be a little bit awkward. So we'll just crank those up for everybody in the room a little bit and go from there. There you go. At least two of you will have an opinion on it.
Sorry, you two.
Just tell us what it says, I guess.
We'll fill you guys in. Just take context clues, I guess.
All right, I'm excited.
But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody that does support the show. Of course, we do the, actually, if you are on the Patreon, you got a notification about 15 minutes before the show that we went live, and we were kind of BSing a little bit and have a little bit of a show before the show. Some of these things that we were just referencing in these conversations. You can hear how we kind of got to those. And of course, you can join us here live for the Patreon recording afterwards as we're doing that. Of course, you get that only if you're at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show on one of the tiers. And thank you everybody that does support the show. First of all, our friends at the fan show level, Bo Diggity! Woo! Nobody else knows the spot here, so it's just me. It's just me. Sorry.
Is it like an Osaka Pro spot?
Yeah, it's kind of everybody else is supposed to woo and
Okay.
everything like that, and then like we say good times, and good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. You know, for the email address. It's okay. It's okay. I need like a prep guide for guests. Team Hammerfist down in Florida, Tupac family, Megan Nelson, and Bubba Brewer, our newest Patreon supporter over there, because I think he wanted to know what I said about the sound guy a few weeks ago. Poppy Club level, our friends Dave, Profod Partner, spouse of Rooster Fair at roosterfair.com. Yes, you can make me say whatever you want for your name, including a plug. Rats in a Trench Coat, Tony Kincaid, and at the Pizza Club level, The Riz, and at the manager level, Bradley. Thank you so much, everybody that does support the show. Patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Dude, he's a good read, isn't he?
I've been doing this for a while.
I said that the last time I was on the show. I'm like, damn, this guy's a good read.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 900 episodes, so
It better be good.
And I probably said these things. I've been saying Bo Diggity like that for at least 10 years. Anyways, speaking of Bo Diggity, I think I have this all queued up here. Let's see if this works, and I'm going to pull it up. No, we did have we talked about Forbidden Door, and actually before I pull this up, I didn't know if anybody has seen Forbidden Door.
I thought this
from
was going to be a question about it. Should there be a Pittsburgh Forbidden Door?
I think it is already, yeah. But anyway, so it's about Forbidden Door. I didn't know. Anybody, if you guys see the show, have any like, what was your takeaways from that a couple weeks ago, or even what's happening since on AEW while I'm queuing this up?
Canaan, say something about Forbidden
Yeah,
Door.
you've said nothing this entire first segment.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Speaking of the mic.
I mean, I think Forbidden Door's good, man.
And that's the kind of hot opinions that we want on this show.
He's the muscle, all right.
That's right. That's right. Anyways, oh God, where the hell am I with this? Okay, here it is. All right, our friend Bo Diggity sent us this email, and I'm going to try not to blow out everybody's ears.
Woo! It is your boy, Bo fucking Diggity. I watched not all of Forbidden Door, but I did watch the Swerve Strickland Will Ospreay match, which was a banger. It was a great match. But it really nailed home the point that, Jim Ross, I love you, but it's time. This ain't it anymore. Listening to Jim Ross try to call that match was painful. There were a number of times where he's talking and just it did not fit the flow. It wasn't like, this is a fairly fast. There were some fast-paced moves. There were also some slower segments of the match to try and, let it breathe a little bit. And Jim Ross just could not form sentences. It just was not there. Mm-hmm. The number of times during the match where I said, "Shut the fuck up, Jim Ross," was it more than 3. I think it's time. We appreciate everything that he's done for the wrestling industry, but it's time. And this isn't even like a Michael Cole situation. It's just he doesn't seem there. And you have Excalibur, who's great. You have Taz, who's Taz, but is still like involved in calling the match. He still understands how a match should work. I dislike sometimes that Taz kind of calls it like he is a former professional wrestler watching a wrestling match, talking about how a wrestling match works. Mm-hmm. When you give a move like that to a guy, it feels like he's pulling the curtain back a little too much. But it just felt like Jim Ross is just not really part of the conversation. I don't know. I can't listen to Jim Ross call wrestling matches anymore, especially when you have somebody like Excalibur, who's your main play-by-play person, who's very, very good at this. So that's what I thought. Jim Ross, thank you for your service, but it's time to hang it up. This has been Bo F. Diggity. The F is for finality. It's a big word for you. Think about it.
There you go. Thank you, Bo Diggity, for his opinions on Jim Ross. Should he still be in the announcing chair? I don't know what value he brings in when he's in like a Will Ospreay match. Like, I know he has history calling New Japan because he did the Access show for so long, and it should have an awareness of all that. But yeah, he just feels like he's a few steps behind, especially when the action at AEW goes so fast, right?
I agree.
Well, I know he's been dealing with a lot of
Medical issues, right? Yeah.
And that's probably like what was on his mind, honestly. Do I think it's time for him to hang it up? I think that's on him and AEW to decide. But I do believe Excalibur is right now the better commentator, and it should just be on him to pick up where Jim Ross can.
Yeah, and they've really diminished. Like, Jim comes in for big matches. Like, I think he was only on a couple matches, maybe at Forbidden Door for pay-per-views. Well, he's been off because of his medical issues. I think it was his first time back. And I don't know. I don't recall that he was included in any of the shows this past week after Forbidden Door, so I think they're definitely lessening his schedule. I mean, I think he's just there because Tony Khan's a fan, you know, and he does bring a little bit of name value to it, but beyond that, I don't think he's bringing much substance.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, I'm never ever going to be.
And I love Jim Ross.
What's
yeah.
it?
And I love Jim Ross.
Yeah, same.
As a whole,
I mean, like, I'm never going to be the guy to tell somebody when it's time to hang out.
No.
Like, I would be so hypocritical to as a guy who's made a huge comeback. Like, I like, you never know what somebody's got left in the tank. But is his performance right now like super good? Objectively, I think he's lost a step for sure. I think I'd be crazy to not say that. That doesn't mean he's still not good and whatever. Very political answer, of course. Just in case. But in all seriousness, I mean, anybody who's watching that show and doesn't think Excalibur's the future of play-by-play is out of their minds. Like, I mean, Excalibur's not only the problem is it's one of those things where he's also a student of the game. He's he's a very educated, not just because he wrestled, but because he really gave a crap about what goes on in a ring. And so he's one of the best at play-by-play anyway, just because you can tell he knows all the he knows all the proper names of the moves. Like it's that kind of thing. It's hard to compare him because in some ways he's a better play-by-play guy than a lot of guys, even in their prime. It just depends on what you like, Yeah. There's I mean, who's your favorite of all time? That's where it gets like that. Kind of gives you some indication of what kind of style you like. Like, yeah. I'm kind of a Joey Styles guy. Like,
I'm with you, but like I don't think dropping Gordon Soley on an AEW product in his prime would make much sense. You know what I mean? Like, I think Excalibur brings a style. Tony has adapted very well. I think Tony Schiavone, and I think people are up on, because obviously AEW is that that Ring of Honor, New Japan, strong style. Guy's gonna maybe get up from a pile driver kind of thing. Love that or hate that. That aside, but that's a different animal than obviously what they do on WWE, on a lot of other promotions like an NWA or anything else. So, like, I think that takes a different muscle to sell that, if that makes sense.
Well, it's
maybe?
funny that you brought up NWA. I can't even remember. Tim Storm sometimes does commentary, and he's great.
Sure.
Because he's a really good wrestler and an experienced guy. But the rest of their commentary team's pretty great too. Like, what I like about NWA's commentary is it's not distracting from the actual show.
Right.
That's kind of what I like. I like wrestling, listening to commentary when I watch wrestling.
So you're not a fan of Pat McAfee's?
I just don't. I mean,
that is just a wrestling fan on the mic.
Once again, it's like it's like I got to be a little bit political here, but like, there's definitely, I would say it's not my preference.
Okay. No, and that's understandable, and it is. It took a little bit to get used to, but I kind of just love seeing Michael Cole have fun at this point after all these years. Like, that's kind of like endearing to me.
I think how you said with Carlito, he's kind of like the comic relief.
Yeah.
And even in serious situations, I think he brings like the comedic side of it, and I actually really enjoy Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
I like his little play-by-play thing where he's like still freeze frames, like right here where he messed up.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's actually
that's a lot of fun.
I like that too.
Yeah. There's little bits. He does a lot. Maybe you don't like your announcer jumping on a table and swinging his arms in the air. I don't know. Or
there's just times when and this goes for a lot of different people doing commentary. It's not just him. Like, so I'm definitely not picking on him. There are times when I just don't think commentators should ever be distracting.
No.
What's going on? Taz actually, and I have nothing but respect for Taz. He was a huge fan during the ECW run when I was a kid watching ECW. Like, but that's actually like one of the things I don't love about Taz commentary is that sometimes it becomes kind of about Taz, in my opinion. And I would prefer it to be. Once again, when I watch wrestling, I want the commentary to complement what's going on in the ring, not distract from it.
Absolutely. Now they do go. The thing is, most of the clips you see of them going really off are from the international feed because that's where Botchamania is watching. Because when they go in picture, they know they're not on in America, so they kind of loosen up a little bit.
I always wonder about
so
that too.
That's always fun. That's an interesting spot. So like that little bit of that's why I kind of love watching the international feed through. I pay for it, so I can say that. But take a swim over to the UK just briefly and watch Dynamite and come back. It's fine. But it is like a little bit of that. Like they'll go off about something, laugh about something that they just said on the air or something. And but it's fun. It adds a little bit of fun to it, a little bit of dynamic. It mixes it up a little bit because picture in picture they're not quite doing too much anyways.
Yep.
So. And
I don't blame Taz or any of these guys for doing that thing because honestly, once again, it's a business. This is the Taz being a constant feature on Botchamania keeps him relevant all the time. He'll always be in demand because, dude, Botchamania is huge. I don't even think it's funny. Sometimes an indie wrestler will show up on that, and I'll be like working a show on them. And I'll be like, oh, it's so awesome. I remember this happened with the Rad Boys. It wasn't anything they did wrong in the ring. It was literally they were in an eye on the table spot. There was tables that just wouldn't break.
Yep.
And when so I show up to a show and it's right after this happened. I was like, dude, guys, that was so awesome. And they were like, Braden in particular was like really downtrodden about it. And I was like, dude, no. Like, I was like, you don't understand what kind of opportunity this is. The eyes that are on that show are huge. And I was like, you guys were in the best kind of segment because it wasn't these guys are buffoons. It was this piece of equipment wouldn't cooperate.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, it's the best possible way you could, like, any kind of publicity in that regard can be good publicity if you work the angle properly. But I felt like that was like a really good opportunity because it really wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
You know, because most of the eye on the table spots aren't the person's fault. It's because.
No, it just something goes weird as a bad table, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember when it happened. I was like, dude, you guys are going to be on Botchamania. This is going to be so great. And they did not seem happy about it. I'm just like, oh, do I send this in? And I was like, no, this will be a net positive for them and everybody involved. And yeah, I'm glad you had that conversation with them because I was really worried that
I wanted to turn his attitude around on it because I was like, guys, I would literally pay money to have that segment.
Yeah.
Because you did it's not just nationwide. Botchamania is kind of global.
It's international. But that guy is in England that does it. So, no, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing that you see. Like, the Spanish announcers, I think for AEW last week said we are the table or I am the table or something.
Everybody references it.
Everybody knows it. Excalibur said it on the show, from time to time when something doesn't break, right? Like, this is like, it's part of the damn culture. Right. And if the guys like fell on their head or something, no, I'm not fucking sending that in. Right. Yeah. But it was like, okay, you guys are good. Nobody got hurt. It was fucking crazy. The announcer went way overboard on it, and to the point that Matthew went in and drew animations, as he said, it's the John Cena of tables and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, you made a viral moment, and that is fantastic. You know, so
yeah,
but
it was good for them. It was good for VCW.
Absolutely.
It is a. The thing is, a botch the right. This is going to sound crazy, but a botch that turns out the right way and makes it onto that show. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are botches on there where you're like, well, I'd never hire that guy.
Yeah.
Those botches exist, but a botch on there that is the right kind of botch can change your life in a weird way.
I mean, there's wrestling shows I go to because I'm like, this is gonna be a train wreck, and I'm here for it. You know,
Yeah.
I like you know, like there's that, but this is not necessarily that. So let's talk about a botch.
Oh,
from
yeah,
this
yeah.
weekend.
Good-
We haven't touched on that. We
it's like
touched
I did
about this
that on purpose.
beforehand. You like that? I've been doing this for a few episodes. But anyways, so of course the big, Grant, Money in the Bank, kind of an okay show, has some pretty good stuff there. The ladder matches were kind of scary at some points.
Yeah, Zoe Stark died.
I was really worried about the women.
Chelsea Green's carries a table bump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, can we talk about before we get that?
She did that in TNA too.
Yeah, that bump is nuts to me.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the biggest story to me, other than the botch, was the story of Chelsea Green. The Chelsea Green versus her fear of heights. Okay, having the prime opportunity at the beginning of the match and going 2 steps and says, nope, I can't do this.
I honestly didn't know that was a thing until I was watching like the show and they did like a cut to like, oh, we're gonna interview Chelsea. We're going up to whatever building it was, and they're like hanging off, and she's like, I have a fear of heights. I'm like, oh, like I didn't
I
realize.
can't believe they got her that far on that.
Yeah, and then she's doing that. I'm like, oh, it's coming back around, full circle.
I love that.
Because I just watch the wrestling now, so I'm now like, I'm like, I'll pick up on the little things. If
Yeah.
I'm like, you know.
So I've been in that building, the CN Tower,
Oh, really?
and they have a glass floor. This is 20 years ago. I've worked on this. I want to go back and see if I could do better with it now. But they have a glass floor when you're up there, and you can walk out and beyond that and look all. I don't even know how many stories
see me
down,
there.
and
You won't
I'm
see
just
me there.
like, you said, yeah,
Absolutely
I
not.
could not even walk up to the edge of it. I could not get close enough to look down to see the ground.
I've seen Final Destination. It does not end well.
Dude, I get freaked out by all those videos of people post on X and on YouTube and stuff of like, I'm gonna do this crazy thing at the edge of a giant building, like you know. I'm like
Have you seen
scared-
Pittsburgh Spider-Man on Instagram?
No, I have
This
not.
guy is like climbing the buildings downtown. They call him Pittsburgh Spider-Man. He's got a Instagram account, and he walks out to like up on like the Highmark building or one of those buildings, and out on a ledge and out on the the scaffolding and stuff like that, and just like takes like pictures up there.
What a dog.
What's that?
What a dog.
What a dog!
You wouldn't catch me doing that.
What do you mean?
Okay,
It's
right.
you.
like I said with the Chelsea Green thing, man, relatable. That's all I
Yeah,
have to say
yeah,
about that. I don't like. There's a certain degree of heights I can tolerate, especially in wrestling, because you just kind of have to.
Yeah.
I've been in plenty of Tower of Doom. I've been on top of a number of Tower of Dooms,
no.
including in a main event in Japan, just to put myself over.
Oh yeah. Did what was the note here? Oh, did you know that Glenn was the first American to hold a title in DDT
Pro
tag
Wrestling? It's
title
true.
for wrestling?
It's true. Thanks.
Jim LaMotta wanted to make sure that we were reminded of that before Glenn got to it. So I'm hitting the wrong button here. I was looking up rock memes.
Hey, if you don't, if you're not a fan of
then I
yourself, you're
told
not going
Sorg
to
to
get
hit the
anywhere
wrong
in this
button.
business. But like definitely like I don't like ladder matches. I don't think I'd be particularly good in one. So fear of heights, yeah, relatable. Which is kind of makes a great wrestling angle when the rest of the fans kind of get it too. You know.
Oh, I was texting my one friend who's like literally can't go over 2 steps on the ladder. I'm like, she's doing this and this, and she's like, it's me. I'm like, yes. And it ends. I'm like, I don't want to tell you how it ends because it didn't. Like, she conquered it.
Yeah.
And then something terrible happened.
That's
with
kind
that
of been her
table spot.
gimmick.
Yeah. Like she gets a little bit ahead and then just kind
There's
of
some
gets
terrible
sabotaged herself. Like, and she got so close. Like she was on the thing unhooking it. Like they let her get so far with that thing. Until she got dumped in those tables. Tina in Seattle saying it's not that she has fear. She lost her way in tapping into her reclusish side. I believe that was her character in Lucha Underground. So there might be a little deep-rooted thing there. So yeah, no. Anyways, okay, back to the botch. We took the wrong way around here.
Keep taking all the detours.
All the detours. Welcome to the show. This is what it's amazing that we stayed on wrestling for the most part. So we're in the Damian Priest and Seth Rollins match. There's a
pretty good match.
It was a really good match. There's a pin. There's a 1-2-0, and then confused looks, and then Drew comes out with the Money in the Bank, and we have all of our shenanigans there. That makes everybody hate CM Punk. That's in the ring, obviously. What's that?
Most hated man in the building at that point.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. He's
No way.
At this point,
No way.
At this point, Drew just needs to shoot him.
Everybody loves CM Punk. What are you talking
the way-
about?
and
He's
this-
everybody's favorite wrestler.
They're just going
least
for blood
in
at
this
this
show.
point.
I was like, he has 2 countries that hate him now, I think.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty fantastic. And yet he's still kind of a face-ish, I think. They're just playing like Punk is
just love
Punk,
to
and
hate
who
him.
cares?
Yeah, they just
at
love to
this
hate
point.
him.
Love him or
Yeah.
hate him.
Yeah, they just love to hate him.
But either way,
Hate him or hate him.
Either way.
I mean, no, what you said.
But so they do this thing, and obviously, like, there's the, Bubba Ray was on Busted Open saying it looked like he was knocked out. He was doing a weird thing with his finger. That seemed like a sign that he wasn't all there and kind of testing himself out. I'm under the impression, because one thing is you saw that 1-2 miss, and you saw the fan lights in the background pop up, which I think is usually something that happens when they hit an entrance or the end of the match or something like that. So that gives me a clue on a production side for what I look for. It feels like that's when Drew's music was supposed to hit, maybe, was during that pinfall. That's purely speculation. And we talked about before, it was like, well, why not count the 3? And then I'm
going to give the opinion that I guess an older guy would give probably, but also is probably the least realistic because there's all this production.
There was a lot of stuff they needed to do afterwards.
But I'm still of the mind, like, I want, I understand we're all fighting for money, but I would really my preference would be for wrestling to be viewed as a sport, and my preference for wrestling is for it to be a fight, and so anything that takes you out of the story of wrestling, anything that makes you think that what we're doing is not real, I would like to get rid of for the most part, unless obviously there's gimmicks and things like that. Like, like I said, like there's all kinds of fun gimmicks. I work for DDT, so like I'm okay with I don't know how to describe it. There's realism within the story. Somehow I would rather they just count the 3 with the full understanding that I was hypnotized by a snake man when I was in DDT, and I thought that was totally okay. Like, so I understand. Like I said, any opinion, like, you can twist it around, make it hypocritical, and maybe it is hypocritical. But when it comes to counting 3s, I just unless there's a reason to not count the 3, I'm like, count the 3 and just deal with the consequences.
So you blame the ref, really?
I don't really blame the ref, because once again, there's so much money on the line. If he was told to not count the 3, don't count the 3. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I think the ref should do whatever would not cost him his job.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
I blame the industry because we need to be more flexible, and stuff happens. Like, it's more that. I mean, I think that'd be more. I think more realistically, that's the issue. Is that in the back, the philosophy should be, if you don't kick out, it's over.
And that is, to my knowledge, with WWE, that is the rule. But also, I'm guessing this referee had all the next spots in his head and knowing how he was going to fuck it up if he counted 3. And hoping the angle wasn't as good as it was, so he can say, "Oh, I saw a twitch," or something like that.
And the only
Twitch with the fingers.
The only other thing I'd add, and I want to hear you guys' opinions on it, but like the only other thing I would add is, as like looking at the bump, just talking the bump specifically, to me the bump looked clean.
It looked
It looked fine.
And here's my opinion. That's not Rollins' finish. So what stopped
the knee? Wasn't it?
It was the Falcon
Falcon
Arrow.
Okay, that's right.
So what stopped Damian from kicking out in the first place?
Good question.
Yeah. So, there's, like I say, Bubba Ray was talking about how he was suspicious that there was a knee that might have caught Priest and maybe knocked him out for a moment. There's a good note from Tina in the chat room that this is the same referee that was in the messed up main event to WrestleMania 35 that got fined for it. Remember that awkward finish with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey? So there's a history there. So that's interesting. But I don't know. Maybe pressure point, big storyline that's obviously setting up for very big things here coming up. So, and it's it's something that happens, and even on the biggest shows. So I'm very we've all seen it in the last several months, especially big production mess ups with WWE, AEW. AEW still, I feel, is a younger video team figuring things out. WWE has a lot of new ideas they're trying, and sometimes they don't work, and they've admitted that in press conferences, right?
Yeah.
So
but at least they're trying.
Yeah, they're trying, and stuff happens.
Another reason to not have press conferences.
I enjoy their press conferences afterwards.
I think press conferences should be worked. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. It does feel like at this point we're doing the talking to the cast of Walking Dead after Walking Dead aired.
Yeah.
With this, which
we're having Talking Dead now.
I don't completely hate, but but then you get this weird middle softball question in I don't know if the press knows they're supposed to be asking questions in character or not, and then somebody asks about a lawsuit out of nowhere and makes things uncomfortable. Which we've had long conversations with journalists on this show about what they should be doing in those situations.
At that point, do you feel that I know some of them are out of character when they're at the press conference? I know Roman Reigns is a big stickler. He's if you're not going to acknowledge me, you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they should stay in character at that point and they can answer the question in their character in a sense? I know some of them are not in their characters at that point.
So here's what I feel.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the most part, I feel like most of them stay in character.
Mm-hmm.
The one person that I feel takes back the curtain is Triple H.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's COO Triple H.
Yeah.
There's even when he was addressing the ref thing, he's like, "Well, I'm going to be Triple H for a moment here and tell you the ref saw what he saw, and I'm going to have a conversation with him later about what he saw." So I think that guy's in a meeting. We might not see him.
I would not want to be that dude.
I would not want to be that guy right now because either way, because whatever messed up, he was at ground zero and. May not have handled it well.
It rolls downhill.
Yeah, I think The Rock does he's Dwayne.
Yeah.
Right. But then there's things I love, MJF is kind of MJF no matter what, and I love him coming out and just ripping everybody apart after he was having a match. Jay White is very good at that. Yes.
He is in character. I love it.
Tony Storm coming out and just reading questions and making
calling out Wendy Richter.
Calling out Wendy Richter and making Tony Khan wear the most ridiculous hat and glasses for the duration of the press conference. Those are I love those.
I think shoots are for shoots. This show is a shoot, and I like that for what it is. And there are times when you can pull the curtain back.
It's a shoot and show your character at the same time.
But when you have something that follows the show and is basically here's the thing, we're doing the. And if I'm wrong, call me out on it. But my understanding is we do these press conferences because we're now MMA stole so much of our pageantry, right? And it was smart to do, and I don't blame them at all. Okay, so MMA took kind of the pageantry of pro wrestling and added it to their show to get more eyes on them, and it's worked. Who are the most over MMA personalities? The ones who act like pro wrestlers when they're not in the ring.
Yeah.
So my question is, we kind of now have this press conference format that feels, in appearance, very much like a press conference from an MMA thing. So why is it not a work? That's my question.
And that's the thing,
because it feels like a continuation of the show.
Yeah.
And once again, I don't like things that pull me out of wrestling. I watch wrestling. I already watch wrestling clinically, which is part of the problem being in the business.
Yes.
It doesn't take the joy out of it from me, but it definitely it changes the way you watch wrestling. And it's even worse to watch a press conference and then have somebody be like, do you think you should have put over whoever instead of and then have these fucking reporters talking like they're in the business, and using insider industry terms and stuff like that, which, don't get me wrong, it's all exposed. Everybody knows it. Everybody, anybody that's listening to the Wrestling Mayhem Show, when I say work, knows what I mean by work and kayfabe and all that shit. I totally understand that. But
I hope we cater to the smart fan that's not an asshole. Is
Like,
my goal.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
Like, but you get what I'm saying, and I'm okay with them even knowing all that stuff. It doesn't bother me or anything like that. The secret society, a lot of it's been pulled, like the curtain's been pulled almost completely away. But I just wish that if it was part of the show, which it always feels like part of the show to me. I don't know how it feels like to you young people. Maybe it feels different because everybody here is marketably younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how it feels to you guys. But it feels like it's supposed to be part of the show. But then, like I said, it rips me right out of it when somebody in the press thing asks a question about is X person like extra stiff on punches or something? It's just like, oh my God, shut up. Like,
Is AJ Lee coming in? Is what do you think about the Vince lawsuit and stuff like that?
Yeah,
No, it's not like you kind of miss the controlled environment, and especially a show where you had Drew McIntyre come out on the set and flip out and elbowed Adam Pearce after what happened, which became part of the storyline as part of that post show. So like you're sprinkling, but also they want it to be again watching the documentary on WrestleMania, they want you to not know what's real, and they're doing that slide against. But then you go into the documentary, and I literally like hearing him talking to a production guy who's like, "Oh no, this entrance is great since you're doing a heel thing, like to The Rock," which I've never heard. I can't remember the last time on like an official WWE production I heard the term heel. Right, heel and face. Like.
Well, Kevin Dunn's not there anymore.
Well, there's that too.
You don't have to worry
They're a little looser about that, right? So, but yeah. So. I don't know. Like, yes, there needs to be a distinction. I don't know what the rules they set out for it are, and some of them, obviously there's some characters that are like, I'm always going to be the character on camera. MJF, Tony Storm, for instance, right? Like this is how I'm going to present 24/7, that old school kind of way, which you can appreciate.
This was a number of shows ago. I want to say it might have been like the first Forbidden Door, but like I said, like Switchblade Jay White came out. And he was just Jay White.
Catalyst, right?
And I was...
The Catalyst conversation?
Yeah. I was super stoked because I was like, this guy gets it. He is not, he is not going to bend to this. He is just going to be him. And I was very entertained by it.
And I think it's, because then you get those awkward questions where people are trying to pull a real answer out. And, because I think, like, we've done this with these interviews where somebody a little too in character, and it's just like, I don't know. We don't know. That's not what we're navigating. Somebody like Jay White is very good about still throwing that MJF too. Although MJF's a little easy, just calls somebody a fucking idiot and moves on. But that works for him. Right, in his character.
If I can, and like I said, this is now getting into it. It's a kind of we've diverged again, but it's a fun conversation. But I don't want to take us too much off topic if you want to stay on it. But I can remember the one that drove me insane. This was an AEW one also. They had Swerve, and it was when Swerve and Keith Lee were tagging together. They had won the titles. They later defended the titles, and I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a specific title defense. After the defense, one of the reporters was like, "Do you think actually with the crowd response, you should have called an audible and put these guys over?"
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was like, "All right." I literally would get up and leave.
Yeah.
Like Keith Lee should have been like, Keith Lee's like apparently the nicest guy on earth. Like, but like I wanted Keith Lee to be like, "What do you mean put who over?" Like we won the match. We wanted to win the match, so we won the match. Like, you know what I mean? It was such a crazy question. The audacity of it really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like, whereas in this setting, if somebody asked me, I would be cool as a cucumber about it.
Yeah.
Like, but in that setting, which the belts are in front of you, once again, like, I don't know. I like good storytelling, and I felt like it fucked with
it's
the storytelling.
context. It's context. I remember there was somebody that we all know here told me about a story about they're a bad guy at the one promotion, and like somebody came up with a kid. I know this story's going to get back to him. He's going to message me. And they were like, "See, he's not such a bad guy here when he's not in the ring." And then he turned to him and says, "Fuck you, yeah, I am," and like walked away, and didn't give him an autograph, like that kind of thing, because he wants to be hated in that building, in the context of that building. And it's also very weird to go somewhere else and see him be a good guy. It's very jarring because he's such a hated person in the place that I frequent. And again, it's that context. It's that kind of like, you're in the building, you're still this fucking character. Like, we are still in this world, we're not the Walking Dead after show yet, where I'm talking to Steve that played Jim on the show or whatever, right? So I can't remember any of the Walking Dead characters, but
I know Rick and Daryl, and that's about it.
Yeah, there's Daryl, there's Glenn, there's anyways. So other than that, so let's boil this down. I think we've had a fun conversation here about Money in the Bank and everything going on there, but let's get into what's happening a little more locally. And thankfully, you guys can see what's going on in a lot of these cases. You can see, listen, sometimes you go to indiewrestling.us and you notice a lot of names on a lot of shows that pull up like they are in Cage Match. Like, I don't know, Cowpoke Paul comes to mind. But now the Troublemakers are starting to get to that point where you're just like, yeah, they're on this show too, on the indiewrestling.us and Indie Wrestling Network. And, of course, all those you can see on there. Coming up, we are going to have the APWF show as soon as I get a minute to edit it. And you can see how that shook out here with the return of Bubba Brewer's show. Really fun show down in Indiana. And, yes, we did announce this past week that indiewrestling.us will be working with APWF on future shows for production and release as well. Our new friends at Neo Pro Wrestling, the first 4 shows of their history from 2023 are now up on the network, and of course that also does include VODs and over on the YouTube membership, so you can see all that kind of stuff. And of course we do have the live shows coming up. Of course this week, free 880, our Thursday night fight shows, and then we're going to be doing another show. I think it's Marco Narciso's Sizzling Summer Nights. I watched the promo video, and I thought I was filming a wrestling show. We'll find out if I still am. Somebody said that one of our friends from our sister podcast, A Gay in His NB, said it looks like Gay Mad Max, which I'm also kind of here for. So whatever happens, whatever happens, I'm here for with a camera. Just make sure I put a little asterisk in there. But no, all that kind of stuff happened. And of course, last week's 4th of July show in one of the most bizarre settings I've ever seen, where it was surrounded by boats. There were punk bands playing between every set of 2 matches. It was so interesting. There was a wet t-shirt contest with the dudes mostly, there was hardcore, there was explosions, I got hit by a firecracker, and I got hit in the head with a hockey stick on the 4th of July. How fucking patriotic is that? And I was the camera guy, so go check that out. It is nuts. Jamie Jamison debuting with 880 Wrestling, Jack Pollock and DeVille, Frank DeVille, in another hardcore match, a street fight, or Donnybrook, I think they called it. Diamond Beach Donnybrook with the Dangerous Snakes crew who joined us last week on this show, and the 4th line for the 880 Tag Championship. Really good stuff, really fun stuff, and of course 880's got a lot of fun stuff happening this weekend. And of course coming up also, RWA has a show next week. Crazy Steve will be returning against Gianni Michael Enrico. Wow. And so much more. 2PW next month. VCW returns. You can check out that last show on there, including Cowpoke Paul coming away with the VCW championship after that last show. So a lot of great content there. A lot of great coming up. Top Rope Tabletop will be this Friday as well. Check that out for free. Sponsored by Drawbridge Games, which I got to make sure I get the plug here. And since
who'd he ever be?
I don't know. Maybe you'll see somebody who's familiar if you go to Drawbridge Games in Castle Shannon. I don't know. I need to get up there. I need to check out the shop.
That's pretty cool. I'm a little biased, but it's pretty great place. Pretty great place.
I saw you pop when I mentioned it.
I just stopped by recently. It was a fun time.
There you go. There you go. A lot of fun stuff there. So let's talk about you guys, the Troublemakers. Glenn, we had you on. I think it was just the dawn of the Troublemakers when we talked to you. I think April 2nd. I think we talked first about the booking on April 1st or something. But a lot has happened in the last few months. You've been a lot of places. Your crew has amassed around you, it seems. So talk about how this has all come together.
Well, they're all my kids, number one.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's crazy how it all turned out.
These are trainees. You've trained all these.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It all really, gosh, I mean, it all worked out. Do you want to know what the origin story of the whole Troublemakers thing was?
Sure.
So this is really funny. So if you can allow me to tell the story, I don't even know if I've ever explained this to you, Canaan.
I don't think so.
So
it's educational for everybody.
I'm going to put my kid over. Mm-hmm. So my son is like incredibly creative and talented, and so he is an amazing musician. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even just straight shoot. Like when I say that, it's not even like I'm not just saying that because he's my kid. Like he's more talented in music than I've ever been at anything in my life. but he wrestles, he does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's in terms of creative stuff, he's a huge fan of Lego, right? And so that's relevant to this story.
Okay.
So as a special gift to him, last year, we went to Legoland. Now, Legoland is cool, right? We were in the Legoland hotel. And it's like even as an adult, Legoland is super fun. Like, and I love that kind of stuff too.
So it's over by like Philadelphia or something.
Yeah,
isn't
it's upstate New York.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
So so we're at Legoland, we're having a good time, whatever. And of course, because of the wrestling thing and all that, I need to work out. So there is like the Legoland Hotel has a little Legoland Hotel gym. And so I'm the only person in the Legoland Hotel gym. I'm doing arms because there's nothing else I can do. The dumbbells only go up to like 50 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just like, all right, I'm going to get like a crazy good arm workout though. So I'm working out arms and I'm listening to music on my headphones. And I came across this incredible metal cover of the song Trouble by Taylor Swift. And I was like, this would be really great entrance music for someone. That is literally the origin story of the Troublemakers. Like, because that was our original entrance theme. And then later, Remy LeVay did a remix of the actual song Trouble and played electric guitar and drums and all that over it.
Wow.
With his band. And so that's our current entrance theme. But the inspiration of the idea, we were talking about how important music is to wrestling. Literally, I was like, this would be a great entrance for someone. And then I kind of started to be like, what could the gimmick be? And then I was like, fuck, man, oh, sorry, language.
No, that's okay. We're explicit.
Right.
You can fucking swear on this.
Right.
Fuck yeah.
And so then I was, so then I was like, how can I, I'm like, I got to figure out what to do with myself. Like, what do I want to do? What is Glenn Spectre like in 2024? And I just grabbed Canaan. We were at practice. And I said, do you want to like do some tag stuff? We're just practice some tag team wrestling and work on some tag stuff. And then it kind of just evolved out of that. We just started tagging. And then, like I said, Brooks was always with us on the road and stuff like that. And I'm like, and I started watching Freebird stuff again. And specifically, some of the kids at the wrestling school had asked me, like, what are some old matches that I should watch? And I specifically was like, there's a really great Kerry Von Erich P.S. Hayes match that I just love. I think it's one of the best matches just ever. And I was like, oh, the Freebirds. Freebird rules. And then I grabbed Brooks. And then obviously there's so much women's wrestling. Now I'm like, we'll grab Lexus too. So now we got all the bases covered. So,
and I love like Lexus. You're so formidable. Like right off the bat, you're like getting thrown into matches with like Zeke Mercer and everybody at VCW too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
put him in front of me. Let's go.
Yeah, I love like you guys actually ruined my plan at VCW because I was going to put the first 2 matches out for you, but I saw how everything rolled together and you kept ruining matches.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it.
Wait, in a storyline way, we're really
Yes.
good in the ring. Yeah. Hold up. Just don't want to confuse
Well,
anybody.
there
It's
was
a
an
shoot show.
interruption, and then there was like you guys were in a match, and then she was in a match,
Yeah.
and it was just like I was like, just
What,
fucking roll through it.
Troublemakers first half is what we like to call that.
I thought, obviously I was loving the booking because it was like the first.
I was too.
The first 30 minutes of the show might as well have been called the Troublemaker segment.
It really was. It really was. And I'm just like, well, because I look at the thing as like, oh, these first 2 matches, we'll put them out free, and then we'll cut off. And I thought it would be really nice to just tease into Lexus and Zeke. And I'm just like, fuck it, we're going with it. I have no break here.
I was honestly so like thrown off. So I'm like, because I have like a mask now that I wear out.
Yeah.
And I do like my whole little entrance thing. And then we're getting ready, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna run out and do this stuff. I'm like, well, I don't need to wear my mask. I'm talking to Brooks. I'm like, I don't need to wear my mask out. And then I'm sitting. I'm like, wait, what are the first matches? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, shoot. So I'm like running to find somebody. I'm like, can I borrow someone's bandana? I guess because I can't wear my mask out because I like gotta take it off. I'm like, there's no need to wear it. So I was like, it didn't click that. I'm like, 1, 2, 3. Oh wow, okay. Well, we're the first half of the show, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it was you, another match, and then like we had a hardcore match.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I hope you know what you're doing because we're not going to have any time to talk about anything else. Just
Nope.
get it. Just know what you're doing and get out there.
Yeah, no, and it came together really well, and I love how that came back around, and we had the most scathing promo I've ever seen from a mime.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like that. Jean Paul Le Miserable cracks me up in such a real and good way. When I first saw the wrestling mime gimmick, I'm fine with him hearing this. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh, all of us.
And then, because I'm like, fucking mime, like what?
It's not something you think will work.
I'm like, and then I watched him work, and I was like, I kind of love this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, also, it wasn't the first match you saw because we talked about how you debuted on the one show, and there was an evening gown match, like a 3-on-1 evening gown match.
Well,
that
all
involved
guys, which was just
a mime, a pirate, and like 2 mountain men kind of thing. Which, which I'm literally like switching the show, and I'm just like, you can't fucking write this.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I said if you, I mean this with all sincerity. I've said it a million times. Like VCW, I like being a part of that team because I think it's the most creative promotion in the tri-state area in terms of booking. Like
I've heard your locker room speeches.
Yeah, well, you can't avoid them.
No, I can't. I'm not. You're down the hallway, and I'm still listening to it.
I second that. Being in VCW, like I see a lot of creative freedom there too.
It's just honestly, no 2 matches on that card are ever any like if you're like, oh, I like hardcore wrestling. Just wait long enough. You're going to see one of, oh, I like comedy wrestling. Just wait. It's coming. Oh, I like super technical wrestling. Don't worry. We got one of those on there too. It really is a carnival show of wrestling where it's like every genre you get something.
But I feel like it fits really well too for the structure. Like it's not overcrowded.
Yeah. It's not shocking to go from one to the other too, right?
It flows really well. It's weird.
Yeah, and one of the bigger rosters between Beastman, Congo Kong, Super Oprah frequently there, Madman Fulton popping up every once in a while. Like, and there's imposing figures coming in there. That's really cool too.
Wrecking Ball Legursky was there.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of.
So obviously, like really cool things happening there. I know you're also popping up at 2PW, which has been, there's a lot of younger talent there. That's kind of the place for a lot of people to kind of get their foothold. How's Worthington treating you guys?
I think we're pretty over there. I mean, we're pretty over everywhere, but yeah, I think they hate the shit out of us over there.
Oh yeah. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, if we're not over yet, give it some time. We will be.
Okay.
It's a nice place. I like working there.
Yeah.
So I got a match with Felix Kos coming up.
Felix, the Polish Devil. That's an Anarchy Championship match, right?
Yeah, yes,
so
sir.
have you done like a hardcore Anarchy kind of thing
Hell
yet?
no, I haven't.
So this is one to watch.
Yes,
Okay.
my first one, yeah.
Okay, so what do you without spoiling obviously, but what do you hope to bring to something like this?
Oh, just something crazy. Maybe some Wonder Man stuff. I can bring out something insane. Surprise everybody.
You want me to bring the outfit?
I'll wear it.
He fits in it.
I'll wear it. Yeah.
I'm not kidding,
I have the picture.
dude. One of the weirdest like coincidental circumstances of training Brooks is if you look at me in like 2003, we look almost the same. Like it's a little crazy. It's a little scary. Like if you
try to pull one up.
I'm gonna try to find an old Wonder Man. I got some on my phone.
He has the better abs though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you'll get there.
Yeah. You gotta just figure that out, right? So, I'll see what I can find here in a moment.
But yeah,
for you guys.
we
There
definitely I I have a secret picture of him in the Wonder
There you
Man.
go. There you go. In
Yeah.
the middle there.
Like, hell yeah.
I have the picture of him if you want me to send it in. It's on my phone. I'm the one that took it.
Nice.
But,
So
yeah, because he fits in my old gear. So
that needs to happen.
The Wonder Man reunion tour.
Wonder Man and Wonder Boy. We
I
said
wanna
that was a gimmick joke for a while.
I want to see how you set that up because there's no way there's anybody in that audience that was around for that, right?
Oh right, yeah.
Like it's a very new audience.
No, you'd be surprised.
Really?
That's actually, dude. The part that always touches my heart that like
I
is,
believe
like,
it at RWA.
Like,
but
I've had a number of fans come up to me. I had one come up with a cell phone pic. Like an ancient cell phone
Like a
pic. I'm
flip
like,
phone pic?
you have passed this on from like phone to phone to phone for like, like this like ancient cell phone pic of me and this fan in the Wonder Man gimmick. I was like, that's wild. Like I always like the people who remember me. I'm always super appreciative of like that because you know, like I said, having to kind of start back down from scratch has been tough. You know, because it's crazy how fast people forget you too. Like,
Well, somebody hasn't forgotten yet. Dean Bradford's in the chat says Glenn should have worn the mask.
what's that?
Oh.
Which one?
Oh.
The one with your tag.
Weren't you the ghost Glenn Spectre, right?
Yeah, that was for like with the whole. Okay, well now I'm gonna bring. Thanks, Dean. Dean's like an atomic bomb at a party. Everybody's having fun, and then everybody's dead. Because here's the thing. Now I'm gonna bring everybody down. I could not have worn the mask. There is the one mask is in Japan at a person who was very a person who was very helpful in getting me into pro wrestling and getting me into Japan. Like it's it's on display at his shop.
Okay.
And then the other mask is buried with my trainer. So
Oh.
like I said, we're really bringing the show down, brother.
Okay, moving
Thanks,
on.
Thanks
moving
a,
on.
Thanks a lot, Dean.
He says the blue one. I don't know if that's the one we're talking about.
That's the one in
Okay.
Japan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So the happy one.
Dean was when Dean was in Japan. He went to the shop and asked if he could put the mask on and take a picture of it. He sent it to me. It was very funny. No, I loved it. Dean's a good guy,
Awesome.
but he still is the atomic bomb of every party. He just kills everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Or wrestling shows when somebody's messing up. So,
Dean, how do you feel about sound guys?
and moving on. Moving on.
Text us and send us some info in the chat. Who's your favorite sound? Who's your least favorite sound guy?
And moving on for sure. Tina in Seattle says one of her first exposures to Glenn was IWC as Wonder Man.
That's awesome.
So, of course, she was in, I believe, the Cincinnati era, if I'm not mistaken. I know did some camera work with like Heartland Wrestling back in the day.
Nice.
So has some roots over here.
Yeah,
so.
I did. I did a lot of wrestling all over in Ohio too in that time period too. So I Ohio, New York, West Virginia, PA, a little bit of the Carolinas too, where a lot of my like regular kind of like around, and then obviously Japan was my claim to fame, and then I had a really good run in upstate New York.
Absolutely. Excellent. So, anything else, like, is there anything I've missed here? Again, you guys are, I can't keep up where the hell you guys are popping up these days.
So we have I just started wrestling in Kentucky, which is awesome. Canaan, I think you were in Kentucky also.
I just got back from Kentucky from a promotion called ACW. He's run by Chris Hughes, if you've heard of him.
Chris Hughes, that sounds familiar.
Also known as Moose.
Moose.
I'll say that's his real name.
Also
I
known
never
as
knew that.
Moose.
Oh,
Also, and he runs a lot. I think primarily in West Virginia, but
Primarily
West Virginia and
West
Kentucky
Virginia.
kiss. So
Yeah.
you know. And then trying to think of what else. For me it was Wildfire Championship Wrestling with Tommy Wildfire Rich.
was that an NWA?
What's that?
Was that an NWA?
No, it's its own thing.
Okay.
Tommy Rich is cool as hell though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy to work for, and he was like another guy that I looked up to when I was a kid. So like,
I'm thinking Wild Side back in the
yeah.
day.
The
That's
funniest
what-
part is my first exposure to Tommy Rich. He's like obviously his real claim to fame is his time in the NWA, but of course I remember when he was a full-blooded Italian in ECW.
Oh, geez, that crew is a fun crew. Awesome. So you got so much going on. I have a couple of questions for after we go to the break here. We're going to take a quick break, and then I want to talk about Japan a little bit.
Hell yeah.
More because there's some friend of the show news, and I thought we could bring that up.
Oh, sure,
That's coming
sure.
up here, and I posed a question to the chat room. I'm hoping to bring back around to you guys. So we'll see what's going on with
They're
that.
all going to tell you how I'm the best trainer who ever lived. That's obvious. All right. And put me over huge.
I want to ask each one of these to give me their favorite training story with Glenn Spectre.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm
you
excited
guys have
for
a couple
this.
minutes
I got
for this. And you see already on it, right? And then we'll come back. We'll be right back. Mayhem Show after this. Approaching the ring, the challenger, TT.
Newly created RWA Women's Championship. Again, this for free.
Whoa!
Oh, rolls her up. It's on the line tonight. I kind of don't blame her. And now TT, wow. 1, 2, starting things off a little bit.
He's got a 2,000-day title range. He's got a
TT. I mean, Tony, you 1,000 days.
2,142.
Oh, God. OVW. And wow. And wow. The surfing bird, as she likes to call this. And there she goes. She comes big shoulder block.
Reversal.
I'm just letting the ref handle it. Oh, she stacked her.
What?
She has captured the RWA Women's Championship. The competing sunset flip.
Whoa.
Jesse Bell is furious. TT has done it. TT now has the gold. Your new RWA Women's Champion.
Applebee's with Marcus Twist, big slam. Absolutely. It's like a DD into the corner. Big! Like I said, if there's anyone that knows.
Tag team specialist, if you will.
Nails him with but not of Marcus Twist. He bites. Ooh!
Do it.
Double close. Jawbreaker. What a blow this special.
Feeling a little investment.
Colliding into that turnbuckle now. Dump better. Be fully well.
Oh no! He hit Jace.
Still attempting to. Oh wait! Powder!
He hit Jace again!
Losing his. Wait, no! Marcus with a roll up! And Marcus twisting the wall. You can never doubt what they will pull out. Oh, wait a minute! Run it! Oh, come on! Thank you for joining us here at Victory Championship Wrestling.
We are back, Wrestling Mayhem Show with the Troublemakers, all here, and they've been exploring the fridge. What do you got drinking there? Chachi brought a bunch of weird stuff over for the pay-per-view. What is that?
12 Fives Rebel Hard Coffee Mocha Latte.
That's a lot going on.
Weird. That's super weird.
I love coffee.
That is an overbooked can right there.
Yeah,
it is.
That can's a Fed finish.
Drink different.
Yeah, somebody didn't kick out of.
Oh shit!
Is that the Damian Priest of?
Oh man.
Oh God, we can't rag so much. We all love for bisexual Undertaker on this show.
Listen,
Come
I
on,
love
guys.
bisexual Undertaker.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
That nickname is killer.
They were chanting. Wait, they were chanting it in the crowd. They were chanting.
They
were
were.
chanting it in the crowd. I kind of paused
It's
for it. I was
over.
like, oh.
It's over.
Yeah, good for him.
Whether
Hey,
he likes
Hey,
or not,
look, I've never seen a Ministry of Darkness Undertaker promo or segment that didn't have, that had homosexual overtones. Never. It's never happened.
No, absolutely.
That cross isn't just for show, if you know what I mean.
So first of all, I want to talk about a friend of the show has a pretty good opportunity coming up here. One Beast Man is going to Japan for Big Japan Wrestling. Right, they got the name right.
You got it.
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out how to log in their site for the last week. It's very Japanese, so
This is why it's so hard for me to get my DDT footage.
yeah.
I have to pull it all off of like Instagram and like stuff like that because like I would subscribe to their thing just so I could pull the matches, so I could have the footage. But I can't navigate their website
Your
at all.
DDT, let's talk about that because their DDT is on a different site that actually is really accessible.
Okay.
I thought, and I have a
I went
subscription.
straight to the source and it was not. It was very
I think I tried
Japanese.
searching for you on there one time. I don't think it goes back that far, but it's not like New Japan's good about having old shit on there. I don't know if these guys are, but we'll explore. Maybe that'll be our Patreon to see if we can find DDT footage of you. But Big Japan Wrestling, he's got. I think he's doing 10 dates or 8 dates, or he's doing a lot of fucking dates. Like the 10th through the 25th, he's got like 10 dates. Over there now, I think this is the first time he's traveled this internationally, at least. So I'm not familiar with Big Japan, but it sounds like it's kind of
it's a death match.
It's a death match, right? Yeah. So what we're kind of I think his first match is technically today. It's the 10th, which it might be. So it's probably at 4 in the morning after the show. So if I'm up late enough editing, I might end up watching it live. But anyways, how do you expect the Beastman to be received in Japan?
Oh, I think they'll love it. I can't see them not loving it. It's Beastman's gimmick is over as hell, and like it's got a good. He's got new. He always has more and more elaborate like headgear and outfit.
The very
and the
Mothman thing going on right now.
I love the Mothman thing. Like it has a Vader vibe that I think is going to really gel with their crowds.
One thing about Beastman is he's actually way more athletic than what you would think.
Kind of like Vader.
Yeah. And I think if anything, if he can show that will get over as well.
Yeah.
The second he does that cannonball in the corner,
he has an aura
it's going to be
behind him.
over. Like people are going to pop for that. Because it just looks like death.
Yeah, the match he did with Gory was the first match I've ever seen him do, and it was crazy.
I saw him do it to Canaan, and I was just like, jeez. I was like, he died.
That
Pin him
cannonball,
now.
yeah, it's just like,
It's a stiff cannonball, but it's safe.
Yeah. I expect nothing less from Beastman.
I just can't imagine it not working. I think it will work really well. Honestly, it's one of those things where if you get seen by the right company, I think it can work in DDT because they love over the top gimmicks.
Oh yeah.
I could totally see him like wrestling Mecha Mummy or like one of their other, or I wish he was still. I don't think he's still working now. I haven't seen him on any of the modern DDT shows, but like Poison Sawada, who I referenced earlier, guys who have those cool kind of monster gimmicks. But Big Japan's
Dave Ponder's in the chat room saying Beastman's a kaiju.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I imagine he's going to come in there kind of like I said, like a mix of like Bruiser Brody and Vader, and hopefully be smashing people. It depends on what they want out of him, but I would hope that they'd bring him in like a monster.
I looked at the graphics. I didn't recognize anybody on the graphics, plus they're all in, I think, Japanese. Was there anybody that you know from that scene that looks like might be a pretty big one for him?
A guy I absolutely love, and I've worked, does work for Big Japan still, I believe. Last I checked, this was probably about a year ago, Takashi Sasaki was still wrestling there, and he is awesome. It's weird. I remember when he left DDT. He was one of the guys. So when Dan Chugadino and I won the tag titles, it was against the Aka Rangers, which was Takashi Sasaki and Gentaro, and Senshiro Takagi and Ryoji Ito. Ryoji Ito is the other. That's another guy whom I don't know if he's still working. I imagine he is. He's one of the Big Japan Deathmatch King guys. So those guys were all in that match that we were in when we won the tag titles. And they're all super cool guys. I remember looking at Ryoji Ito's back and just being like, "What the fuck are we doing here, though?" Because it's just, to me, that shit is so crazy. As a guy who's a more traditional wrestler, that deathmatch stuff is strange to me sometimes. And the same thing, I will say, when I saw Sasaki much later wrestling for Big Japan, like I said, I saw him on some shows last year. His back looked like a jigsaw puzzle. And I was like, damn, dude, that's a rough way to make a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Have you
it's-
guys watched any Big Japan stuff?
I have not.
Yeah, they have a channel on Indie Wrestling TV.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that. It's not recent episodes though. It's like stuff from like 2019. It looked like.
Yeah,
it
it's
looks like they
older
were just
stuff,
on there.
but it'll give
Yeah.
you some idea what the vibe is.
Yeah.
Like
There's a
they-
YouTube channel as well.
They go all the way with the deathmatch stuff.
Yes.
Big Japan guys. I think Madman Pondo was a Big Japan guy for a while. To give you some indication, if I like, you can double check me on that. But I think Pondo was, Masada was for a while. I think over there. Like I said, fact check me on that. This is my recollection.
I'm always down to watch a good death match. I
I,
like watching death matches.
I think most of the stuff. I think we may have talked about this before. My first exposure to the Japanese wrestling was ICP Stranglemania.
Hell
tape,
yeah.
Right, which I think was mostly FNW. Obviously, that was the
Yeah.
exploding ring
And
with Terry Funk.
and I think IWA.
IWA.
I
Okay.
think that was the name of it, right? It
Maybe.
was not the IWA from the United States.
No,
there
no,
was
no.
an IWA in Japan. That was the one where the like death matches with like Foley and Funk and stuff like that. I think. Somebody once again fact check me on that.
Yeah, there's.
I love Stranglemania.
Oh,
I
it's
love
fucking
Stranglemania.
great. Like that is.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes, indeed.
Whoop, whoop, indeed.
So, like, I'm marking a show at Violent J on Monday. I'm very excited about that. So it's that kind of stuff. I don't think they're doing exploding rings. I know Fire. We talked about Fire is I believe banned in Kurikan Hall, and it's because of our Shadow WX friend from VCW. I pulled. So I was I was sad that Pondo, and because I'm a huge Pondo fan. Again, my first indie wrestling show technically was the Gathering of the Juggalos in 2001 in Toledo, and Pondo was a part of that, and I sat in on the seminar and everything and heard his stories. So I was sad to see them not make the last show, but I was also glad that I didn't have to worry about one of my videographers getting covered in kerosene again.
But to give you some indication of like modern Big Japan, the last match I saw there, somebody had a claymore made out of light tubes. I'm not even kidding. It was sculpted into a sword.
Oh, jeez.
And they were swinging it around at people and smashing it. And I was like, all right, this is some serious deathmatch shit. Like, I mean, like full on, like this was like 7 feet of light tubes built into like a giant sword.
It was like the
a
berserk,
two-handed
like
sword.
the berserk
It
sword.
looked like the berserk
like
sword,
the,
for
like
real.
just like the black swordsman everywhere. Like, send me that link. I want to watch that.
It was wild.
So
thanks for like outing us as berserk nerds.
I love berserk. Don't come at me. I don't think anybody's gonna come at me.
I'm not gonna
saying
come at
something.
you. I'm saying I'm like.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody through that camera.
I love
over there.
berserk, baby.
I love berserk.
So we are both happy for Beastman and a little bit worried for him.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I'm
he'll
not
be
worried for him because he can handle himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beastman's a big, tough dude.
Yeah.
And he's taken a lot of abuse.
And he's done this stuff
And
before.
Canaan, you were in the ring with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he almost died.
Here's the thing: is Beastman wouldn't have agreed to it if he couldn't do it. So he's smart. He'll be able to get through it. And the thing is he's going to have a lot of success. So I think they'll really enjoy him down there.
Awesome. Can't wait.
I told him. I said when they fall in love with you, you know what's next. Just like FMW, ECW, Big Japan VCW, cross promotion show. Let's go. Let's go.
I thought it was my New Japan contacts that was going to get me over there, but it might be this. Little Fed, south of Wheeling, West Virginia, out of the Bishop Donahue.
Team
High School.
VCW versus Team Big Japan.
What would be your Team VCW aside from the Troublemakers against Big Japan?
Oh God, there's so many.
Cowpoke has got to go.
Cowpoke's got to be in there. He's got the title, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like
He was in the ring with Pondo and Shadow.
I mean, if we're doing deathmatch, it just depends on whether we're doing deathmatch stuff or not. I think, but I would. What's that? I think causes. Yeah, I think cause truly.
Have you seen
truly
the
embraces-
barbed wire sausage?
He embraces both he could embrace the deathmatch stuff, but he also embraces the VCW energy. Like he's got big VCW energy all over that character.
Did a promo in a bathtub.
He did with
It
a
was
fucking
great.
plastic
Next week.
dinosaur.
It was
And it's
great.
like one of the best shot promos I've seen.
That kid can get anything over. He's
What is
hilarious.
happening?
He's really good at promos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really
Yeah,
good.
I was his first match. And the promo he cut, I immediately knew that it was going to be like I was like, oh, this guy kind of gets it already. That's awesome.
Well, the thing is, he records, edits all of his promos. He does all the music. He made his own music. He made his own entrance video. It's like he's very talented.
I like that.
He does it all.
Dude. That's the Lee Moriarty ethic there.
Put in that work.
Yeah. There's a great. I will say this. Like I will repeat this over and over for New Year's to hear it. There's a guy that I follow that says if you're a business, your own media company. And it also applies to if you're a wrestler, you're your own brand. You have to be your own media company, right? Like your own PR, your own this, that, and the other thing. Unless you can get people to do it for you, So
Social media is a great thing now. Like I know people like are like hit and miss with it, but like for like indie wrestlers, it's really good because you'll reach a whole just a hashtag alone, you'll reach a whole different audience.
Throwing a random TikTok could get you 1 million follows.
You'll
Your
reach a
first
whole
one
different-
could do it.
I am trying to figure it out. I will say I'm the boomer in the room.
Yep.
I post every day, but man, to me it's always like, is this the thing? And it's weird, like things I don't think are going to have any traction will get like a ton of likes, and then something that I put together that I'm like, this is going to be the thing, nothing. So it's like I clearly don't understand it yet.
Well, don't feel bad. I'm 22 and have no clue how Twitter works. So.
I don't know how Twitter works.
So I struggle with social media as well. But the guy that I work with who does my promos and stuff, he asked me not to shout him out. So I'm not going to do that.
Which is a pity because we both love this dude.
Yeah, he's freaking amazing.
He's a filmmaker.
He's a
and
filmmaker.
He's very good at it.
But just to give him his just to give him a bit of a shout out is he helps me with what I need to do for social media. Like he has all these ideas, and currently he's busy, which is if you do follow me on my socials, I haven't put out anything in a while. He's been busy making movies, flying back and forth to China and stuff. So, but shout out to him, and we are currently working on something soon. So hopefully that will be out.
And he'll know. We were specifically asked not to shout him out, but he'll know that we're referencing him. So he'll at least get his thank you.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like you can do like look for film students, look for people, like fans that always are filming with their phone in the crowd. Like somebody will be willing. If you're looking for somebody to help you with these things, there's always. I got into wrestling because I did this podcast, showed up at shows every month, and they're like, "Hey, can you help with the website? Hey, can you hold a camera?" And here we are. You know what I mean? So you never know what that opportunity is for that other person too. So like the resources are out there, and there's people willing to help out with that for any new talent out there or older talent trying to struggle with this stuff.
This is probably, as a trainer, I would say this is the one thing that I want to kind of figure out, only because I feel like now to be a complete trainer, I have to be able to at least give some advice on social media too, which is I hate that I have to like. Well, we used but to it's a huge part of the business now.
Absolutely,
and it's definitely like I really feel like I'm a great trainer. I mean, I have to, right? Like, but at the same time. Like now, this is a part of it too. Is like how like I kind of give the most bare bones advice on social media. Like like don't do anything that's good. My advice is more like don't
get canceled.
Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your career.
Yeah,
like as opposed to I feel more comfortable saying don't do this because I've seen so many people blow themselves up.
Yeah,
versus. Versus how to actually become like a social media figure. That I don't feel like I'm not confident with my advice.
Yep. Absolutely. Or get on a podcast that has decent video production and use those clips from that podcast. I don't know. But no,
right?
What we used to do, we actually, our crew has done social media classes for wrestling training classes. So. And we've reached out to other schools to do that again, and just nobody answered back. So, and I don't even think we were charging. Hey, that's out there. Anybody?
Well, the next time I'm involved,
yes,
I've taken some time off of training because, a couple reasons. But I still help out. I show up pretty routinely at Stronghold, and those kids are very appreciative. So I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. Like that, my big thing is like I'm willing to help anybody who's willing to listen, but I don't have a lot of time for like I just don't have a lot of time for bullshit.
Yeah.
So like the first time I'm like, you know, like, oh, this was wrong, fix this, and somebody gives me like a yeah, but I'm like, all right, fuck off. Next, like you know what I mean? Like I just don't want to hear it. I don't have time for it.
But is the worst shit in any training, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
because I mean, like, I'll give you some. If you're an aspiring wrestler in a training class, look, I get it. Like, you could be dying in the ring or whatever. Like, crawl out, fucking. I understand all that, but like, if somebody's like, hey, you fucked your arm drag up, and here's what I need you to do to fix it, and instead of just going like, oh yeah, yes sir, or whatever, blah blah blah. You start like fucking kind of making excuses and then telling me why it's, you know, why I do not have any time for that. It pisses me off actually. And I believe I am not in the minority. I think basically most trainers I'm good friends with feel the same way. They just aren't as vocal about it. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm kind of the Gordon Ramsay of wrestling trainers. Like, that's my personality.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm more of a yeller and a barker and like
a little more old school.
The idiot sandwich.
What's that?
The idiot sandwich.
Yeah, the idiot sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like, and I like both styles too. I like I said when Bobby and I were training people together, one of the best things about it was Bobby's more of a nurturer and I'm more of a fucking asshole, and like that when you have two of those people, it's a good mix. Like. You know,
you didn't hand out compliments just to hand them out. We had to earn them. If that says anything.
Never. No. I don't like say like that. I that's my thing is like I feel like compliments should mean something. Even if you do something really well in the beginning, a lot of times like when I have a class and it's my class, I kind of force myself to not say anything good for like literally 3 months.
You're like biting your lip for 3 months.
Yeah, because sometimes people are just doing good stuff like and it's correct right out the gate, and I'll just be like, yeah, that's right, or whatever, like because I feel like it means more if you know like if you have to earn it.
So I put a question out. I only got like really one answer from this, maybe two, but my question was, what 4-person faction does this team resemble?
Oh.
I did one. Deed Radford said Raven's flock.
Oh, interesting. I'm a huge Raven mark, so that maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
I love me some Raven.
Yeah, Raven was like I said, like when I was getting into when I was really falling in love with ECW, Raven was a huge part of that for me. Like,
and he was a regular at IWC in the 2000s too.
I had one of my worst matches in front of Raven.
Oh no!
Yeah, we had a not completely our fault. We did a double tables match was the stipulation, but they only
bought like a bad idea to the beginning.
They only bought 2 tables.
Was this a tag match? Or
yes.
Okay.
So both partners had to go through the table, right?
Right.
So we had to come up with a really convoluted, shitty finish because they wouldn't shell out for the 3rd table. Our names. I won't name names to protect the innocent or the guilty.
I think we know who was promoting then.
Right, but they'd only shell out for 2 tables, and one of them was a Japanese table.
Oh,
so it wouldn't break. So we had that whole. I wish Botchamania existed because we would have been over like Rover. Because we had number one, we had the like me putting JT Rogers through this table 4 times before it finally actually broke, and then we had a convoluted, shitty finish because we had to put. 2 people through the 2nd table together. All right. So it was just a complete disaster. Double tables, probably the worst match I've ever been in my life. If Troy Lords is watching right now.
That's good. We're not live at all.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Troy. Troy's the best. He's one of my absolute all-time favorites. He's probably, in my opinion, the most underrated worker in this area.
Absolutely.
Like one of the best technical wrestlers you will ever find anywhere. So there, I just made up for it by putting him over so huge. But he really is. He's amazing. He's a great guy and a fantastic talent. But anyway, we were in that match together. And the funniest part was, we also workhorsed that show because we were in a singles match in the opener. I don't know why. They didn't have enough people or whatever. Who knows? You know what I mean? So we had a banger in the opener, thank God. But Raven wasn't watching the opener. We finished this doubles tables match. I'm like, I hope nobody important watched this match. We're walking to the back, and Raven is sitting at the in Gorilla like this, and I make eye contact with him, and he just does this. Dude,
The head shake.
It was like having your dad tell you he's disappointed in you, that kind of shit. Like, it was so brutal. Oh my God. I literally wanted to just curl up and die. Like, just kill me right now.
Get browbeat by Scotty Flamingo.
He didn't even, like I said, he didn't have to say a word.
Nope.
He just made eye contact and just did this.
All right. Before we move on here, I asked that question. Wait, how did I phrase it? I was looking for training stories.
Oh.
You're the first one to step up.
Yeah. So my favorite and most fond training story is we remember it as Jorts Day. So Glenn would always show up to training wearing jean shorts, you know, like something.
Oh, you mean like right now? There's there's some jean shorts action. Just like everybody just been spread eagle on the couch the whole show.
Yeah, I basically only wear jean shorts. I know that's weird, right?
You know what? I didn't even plan this. I'm wearing them right now. There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
I don't know what. Like, there was a while.
It's a comfortable day.
There was a while where I was like kind of cargo pants dad, and then like
That's when I'm working.
I found this company. I feel weird plugging them because they don't give me any money. But anyway, there's a company that makes stretch jorts. Like so, this all started with stretch jeans.
Is it kind of like the Orange Cassidy
Yes.
Do
you remember Chuck Norris action pants? Chuck Norris made jeans that had spandex material in them, so he could still throw round kicks and stuff, even though he was wearing like jeans.
Yeah.
And he sold them through Century Martial Arts.
This is so real.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
And so he sold them through Century Martial Arts. Dude, I own like 5 pairs of those.
Oh my God.
Okay? They're the most comfortable jeans you can imagine. Well, there's a company that makes shorts that are made out of the same material. And so now my entire wardrobe is that company's shorts. And if they pay me, I'll plug them.
I don't know if this one was real, but there's one.
That does not look real.
I don't think the Daisy Dukes are real. I think that's
that
a
is seriously our next drugs, though.
I don't know. Those. I think Chuck has better legs than that.
Right?
So, yeah.
So the one day we had a show.
We didn't even get to the story yet.
Yeah, we had a show coming up for IWC. So Coach Potter took us in the car and we're going around Flyer and we're waiting for Glenn to show up at the school and we were gonna meet him back there. So we stopped at some little store and Canaan was the only person that didn't wear jorts. You know, me being a brainiac, I just cut a pair of skinny jeans like an animal and just wore those because why not? And Canaan bought some like 1950s baggy jeans,
Dude,
like jorts.
I almost
dude.
wore those today.
They had like flare bottoms. They were so goofy. But anyway, we get back to the school. You know, we're all lined up like good children. Glenn just walks in. We're just all staring at him, waiting for him to notice. And he's like, "Why are you guys being all weird?" And then we're like, look down, and we're all wearing jorts. It's my favorite story.
I have the picture, and if you want,
It was pretty awesome.
It was a really cool picture.
Can you send me that on Messenger?
Yeah, I will send you the picture after this. Yes.
Maybe that'll be the
they'll
show.
send
That'll be
now?
that'll be the
We'll
show
post
art.
I got
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm really, like I said, like I've been really blessed. Because she's not currently in the group, but she's currently wrestling all over the place. Pagasa was the other member of that graduating class too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's what I'm
like honestly, these 4 have been doing really great stuff. Like I couldn't be prouder of all 4 of them in terms of like getting their name out, working everywhere, like just really trying to make it work. Like I'm very, very happy with this. I got another class that is starting to debut. And like I said, currently right now, I'm not doing any. I'm helping out at other places. There was business is business.
Yeah.
Sometimes arrangements fall apart and things like that, and you move on. And like so,
It's not like you haven't kept yourself busy.
Yes, I like right now. I'm focusing on, like I said, helping out where I'm wanted to be helping out, and then honestly, I'm focused on making this work with these guys, and also just getting, like I said, I am in the hunt. I want a contract still. I don't give a shit if I'm 45. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. I'm telling you. Like, believe me, it ain't over. I'll be national again. It's gonna happen.
Any other stories?
International.
Any
yeah,
other,
let's
any
go.
other stories
Come on, guys.
about Coach
Aaron
here?
has a good one.
So this one is kind of, it's more personal, actually.
Okay.
So this one was after everybody left, and it was just me and him. We were
I know this.
bullshitting in the training room, and I was asking him, like, more or less how to get into character, like how he gets into character. And
When is he out of character? What are you
well, here's the
No,
thing.
this was a little bit crazy.
So he was trying to get me to be more angry, and he was trying to get me to believe in being angry and like defending myself and really believing to really
live.
believe in my character. So yeah, we were going at it, and he looked at me and he was like, "You know how I get angry?" And he got in my face, and you know, he was being serious, and he was like, you know, "Canaan, you're too nice. You're too nice to be in this business. You need that aggressive side." He was like, "And if you're not going to pull it out of you, I will pull it out of you." And he was like seriously angry. And
I said some fucked up shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into all the details on it, but it showed me that, you know, you can't be soft to be in a business as pro wrestling. You know what I mean? You can't. You have to actually find that anger, and however you do it, you think back on like past shit that makes you angry or whatever it is. But he showed me, and honestly, it was one of the biggest lessons I've ever learned. Not just in pro wrestling, but in life in general, because from that day, I stopped taking shit from people, and it made me a better wrestler, and it made me a better person. So that's probably one of my biggest and favorite memories.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy night. Like I pour, you know, like my kid knows this better than anybody. If he's out, I think he's at home watching. Like, but I pour everything into the people I care about. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't a whole lot of barrier between, like, in that regard. If you stick around long enough, like, and you're one of my kids, like, you know, I like that, like, it's just that way. Like, I genuinely care about, like, wrestling. It means a lot to me, and like, so, like, when I train somebody, I want them to have success. You know.
To bounce off that, it's not a training story, but just to bounce off that, he'll help me with a lot of life things. So like, even like if he doesn't know what's going on, he'll I don't want to say butt in, but he'll butt in with the new current relationship I'm in, and he's like a father figure in a sense. Like every practice, I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna go in. Like even when I'm like beating myself up on whatever drills we're doing, he'll like pull me aside and be like, you know, you need to breathe. You need to like get everything situated. Like you can do this. I know you can do this. You know you can do this. You know. So it's like even then, so it's like taking that from the ring into life, and then like also having him now like also in actual life too. It just means a lot to me, and I hope he, you know, means a lot to him too, which it does.
Yeah. No, I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. Yeah. Like I said, like I get to have the best of like both worlds in terms of like I have an amazing family at home and I have an amazing family at wrestling. Like I'm just very lucky, man. I really do. That's like the thing I think I'm trying to embrace the most with this second run is when I was wrestling, when I first got into wrestling, I wanted to make it so bad that what always was missing from me, because I was always fighting for the next booking and the next spot, was the appreciation for the fact that we're all very lucky to do this. And like, you know, if you think I'm a mark for saying that, fuck you, you're just wrong. Like, at the end of the day, someone paid $20 to see me fucking fight. amazingly powerful. Like, it, you know, a lot of times when we're wrestling on these shows, we're wrestling in front of people who are really fucking struggling. Like right now, everybody knows that inflation, the economy fucking eats. Like, this is, you know, it's just, you know, like for a lot of people, it's catastrophic. And like for somebody to shell out $20 and then come in like a Troublemaker shirt or do the T thing when we do it, or any of those things, or even just fucking hate us, like, and, you know, chant "you suck" and "fuck you" and all that other stuff, like, it's powerful. Like, and that's, I think, the thing about wrestling, that like when people are like, why do you do this? You know, the money sucks and like blah 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 and all this stuff, and you know, like the injury risk and all that. I don't think people understand like how powerful that is and how addictive it is. Like, it is such a rush, you know, to know that like I said, this is like the best part of somebody else's day. You know, that's really special, and I'm really trying to embrace like the idea of gratitude, that I'm actually lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be doing this. You know, I would not have told them this when they were trainees, but now that they're not trainees anymore, that I'm lucky to have them. Like, you know.
I'd honestly say.
Did you raise your fucking hand?
No, my hand's just holding the mic, so
okay.
It's
not like, I was
wobbly.
like, this ain't class.
Also, Sorg, I sent you those pictures.
Oh, excellent.
I'd say my favorite thing with experiencing you as my coach, and I never really had like a big like somebody to help me with like you know, kind of growing up and learning life lessons. But the biggest takeaway, like from the day we started class, is like how much you cared and how much you wanted the best for us, and I always really appreciated it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, like, my thing is like you know, I it's funny because I tell the kids now, I'm like, I want it too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're competing against me, but at the same time, if any of these guys, you know, like anybody, like, why would I not want their success? Like, you know, it becomes part of my legacy too. Like, and that's also why I'm so strict, and this is why I can be such a mad bastard when I'm training, because at the end of the day, these people also represent me. So it's like a little me running around, and so, or a big me. Like, so that, yeah, that's the like you know, it's not to get too sentimental, but really, like I said, and if you're a wrestler watching this, you know, if you're a wrestling fan watching this, like, you know, I'm grateful, because we're very lucky to do this. We really are. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's a ton of work. We earn it too. But like, the amount of work is crazy. The amount of time away from people you love is crazy. The amount of, like, you know, just everything, the bumps, the bruises, the injuries, the gym, like, I'm in
the fact that you can't keep a job sometimes.
Yeah. The fact, no, it does. It fucks with your employment. It like all these things, like, even after all that, like I said, I would, you know, you're in the gym every day for hours, like that kind of thing. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't have it any other way. It is, it's still we're very lucky to be able to do it.
It's quite the interesting life.
Yeah.
And you get interesting moments like these. Why can't I make it bigger? Hold on, let me zoom in here. Oh no, I'm temporarily blocked. What is happening here?
Look at the hair.
Oh, my luscious locks.
Yeah. Goldilocks.
Man.
You guys are gonna have to zoom into the
That was
video for
baby
this one
AJ.
for some reason.
Baby. Oh,
The
yeah.
phenomenal one.
Yeah.
And then you got
Yeah,
Brooks.
he used to wear, like, do you remember AJ's, like, old entrance thing where he had the hood and the...
Put it up, bro.
Yeah,
Yes,
put
put the hood
Put
up.
it up, because
Yeah.
he wears them all the time.
I was like, oh, he's phenomenal. Oh!
That's the Wonder Man picture there.
Dude, it's so uncanny. It's so
Wow.
crazy to see that picture, man. Like, it's just, like, so... Like, oh, my God.
I'm glad I kept those pictures.
Brooks, you
Jesus.
look so young in that.
Yeah.
Dude, it was only a year ago.
That's what the business does
That's
to
what a
you.
year in the business will do.
That's what it
Eventually,
does.
look in the mirror, motherfuckers, because eventually it's going to be this.
Man,
Like,
I'm too young to feel this old, man.
Well, yeah.
you got to be, by the time you turn 45, you become a heel just on sheer ugliness. Like, you know what I mean? I just embraced it. I was like, well, now that I'm ugly, like I might as well be a
Let's
bad
just roll
guy.
with it, yes.
Like,
Well, we're going to get to what everybody learned here and get out of here for the main show. We got Patreon if everybody's sticking around. Who knows what's going to happen? Well, maybe we'll just trash on some sound guys. Oh, and there it goes. What was that? What did you
keep
do over
dropping
there?
the damn headphones.
Damn, I
We
thought you
can't go
dropped the
anywhere.
mic.
We always cause trouble.
Well, of course, we are supported, and everybody's all nutritioned up with our friends at Slice on Broadway here in the
Great pizza, man.
in the studio.
Always good.
New York City style. Yins are made. 4, 5, 6. I think what they say it says down the road from you there too. They're everywhere.
Yeah, down by Ross Park.
And I was surprised. I didn't get to talk about this last week, but I called in and they had to put me on hold because they were pretty busy down there. And they got a jingle. They got a jingle now on the
wanna hear it.
on the thing. I think it's on their social media.
You gotta sing it for us.
They dropped the new. No.
Rap it like
Dad,
Eminem.
Sorg singing it needs to be part of his next read.
No. I sang for a bit like 2 weeks ago, and I got to go off for a while. But anyways, go check them out. Our friends, sliceonbroadway.com, or as Matt Carlins is visiting, as we talked about last week, Tim's Corner Market if you're in Beachview, right up the street here from the studio, and the original location right up the tracks here in Beachview. Thank you them for supporting us. Supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza for over a decade. Thank you so much to make sure we don't go hungry on Tuesdays. So
Gannon Jones would love the cheese pizza.
Yeah, you
That's all I'm
would.
saying. He's a big advocate for cheese pizza.
I think
Yeah,
he's
he
yeah.
posts some.
Is that like a Dave Portnoy thing? Does he do the one bite?
Dude, he
Everybody
posts
knows
it
the
No,
all
rules?
he
the time
posts
on
it all the
Instagram.
time, and it
It's
looks so
amazing.
good. And I just want to message him like, "Can you stop? Like, I'm starving over here. 'Cause
One
I'm on a
bite.
diet."
Everybody knows the rules.
We'll have to get him maybe like, I got
Nah, we
cheese
love
pizza
Gannon.
for you again, and
Oh,
come
yeah.
on back in.
That's the shit.
Come on back in. We haven't had TME in here for a good while, so. Anyways, this is the part of the show where we ask everybody, what did you learn from wrestling this week or recently? Since you guys aren't here every week, feel free to chime in. Who would like to go first?
I'll
I guess I'll go. Because when I'm at the gym, that's where I watch wrestling the most when I'm doing cardio.
Sure.
And because I was born in 2002, you know, I missed the 90s era of wrestling in WCW. So I watched a lot of Rey Mysterio and his early stuff. And today I watched Rey Mysterio and La Parka. And I've never really seen a La Parka match. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
God, he's the best.
the strut thing he does is crazy.
Yes!
Like how over it was. Like
Yeah.
he did a spot where Ray did a crossbody and he caught him and just started strutting with him.
Yep.
It was the greatest thing ever.
Also, kind of before I ever saw the Hardys do it, his finisher is basically Whisper in the Wind when he was in WCW.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites. We love the luchadors when they were doing that stuff.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to see that. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, awesome.
LA Park now.
So, what I recently watched was everything that's going on with NXT and Money in the Bank. And what I've like learned in a sense is with all the botches that happened, you just have to roll with it. Don't focus on just that. You know, don't crush on it. So just it happened, just keep moving. Because they even covered that on Raw. You know, Priest was like covering stuff like that. So it's like just keep rolling with it. So you know, because I get like that. If something happens, I'm like, oh fuck, like, and that my brain just focuses on that one thing. I'm like, well, now I just like you can't focus on that because you have a whole other part to do than just that one moment.
It's not the end of the world unless you let it.
Yeah.
The end of the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you're breaking things.
All
What's
right, I
happening?
guess you're
Glenn.
next then. Jeez,
go
before
ahead.
you break the
I'll
mic.
go last.
Good.
All right. Guess one thing I did learn was to listen to everybody's opinion because everybody has one, whether they're right, whether they're wrong. But everybody has an opinion, and especially the vets in the business, to listen to them no matter what it is, because if they're telling you something, that means they care and they want you to get better. But I guess if we're not going down that route, one thing I learned from like NXT, that Obafemi is a fucking dog.
He's crazy, man.
That match was crazy. It was just let's just throw Wesley around, I guess.
Did you
That
see
was the match.
Dude,
the Twitter
F95
post?
or whatever they call it.
Did you see the Twitter post where someone said Obafemi was blowing Wesley's back out?
Dude,
He just
Jesus.
said pause.
I know.
Great. Great
Me and my
stuff.
friend were watching it, and every time he took a bump, he was like, "I'm scared for his back," and I'm like, "I am too." So am I.
Oh gosh, what did I learn from wrestling this week? I guess like I'm trying to think of things that back on that note about theme music. I think I learned that aside from our Troublemakers theme, I think my favorite wrestling theme currently is Matt Cardona's. I keep playing it all the time when we're in the car.
It's pretty
and stuff.
good.
Yeah,
It's such a good theme. Like I know that's really random, but I'm just like I watched him in EC3 wrestle for the NWA title, and when his music
Is
hit,
that the hardcore match?
yeah, it was
I think it
was
just came up on YouTube.
dude, with the table and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like, and I was like, and when his music hit, I was like, oh yeah, I remembered really liking Matt Cardona's music, so I looked it up and I was like, I really do like Matt Cardona's music. I learned that that I like. Of course, I'm probably the last guy to the party on this. I never remember like who plays what in terms of wrestling music, like who made up the music, because I'm from the era where all the music was written by Jimmy Hart. But
American males.
the American males, American males. But I was on to that shit before it ever got brought up on Dark Side of the Ring. I'd want to point out, like American males being the greatest wrestling theme ever.
I don't know. I've done so many car trips with Joe Nebraska where we have to play girls in cars. So like that's the one stuck in my
So
head.
American males
Yes.
is literally the greatest wrestling theme ever written. All right. It got brought up recently in an episode of Dark Side of the Ring because of its awfulness. But it is really, if you're a young wrestling fan watching this, you've never seen it, put it on YouTube right now. It's Jimmy Hart's finest work.
It's a bop. It's a bop.
And it is an absolute banger.
Yeah, it's a banger.
But I was listening. I watched the intros and I was like, oh yeah, I think I really like Matt Cardona's theme music. And then I put it on my Spotify, and the next thing that came up was Kingdom, the Cody Rhodes song. And I looked down and I'm like, holy shit, this is the same band. And apparently the kids told me like it's like they're the same guys for like 10
Yeah,
wrestlers.
they do the
Ziggler,
Miz.
the Miz.
They're like the new DX band. Like
Or Alter Bridge that does the Edge and the Judgment Day and stuff like that. Yeah.
But in terms of like
Or Saliva.
serious wrestling stuff,
Motorhead.
when I was working on training stuff, I was reminded. I was talking about specifically about intensity at when I was coaching these young kids at Stronghold, and how important intensity is. Like to do everything with purpose and intensity, and that like everything about what you do in the ring in terms of your presentation, purpose and intensity is a huge part of that. And if you do even the way you walk, like and all that stuff. And I was reminded, like watching some of the more experienced guys, like after I said this, like I want you guys to show them, like hit a clothesline and then show how, because we were just doing something simple. It was clotheslines, but I was like, for the guys here in the class that are more experienced or they're getting closer to debut, you might be like walking through this drill, like we're just doing clotheslines. I've done this a million times, and I'm like, I don't want you to do that. I was like, you're getting ready to debut. Now is the time. I want you to show me with a clothesline what your character is, because the way you throw a clothesline, what you do during and after that can show me a lot about your character. Even a simple move is a chance for you to get your character over. And I was reminded about how like just it was just watching. I was like, I had two of the guys that were much more experienced come in first to kind of show what I was talking about, and I felt like I was really vindicated because like I was like, you watch Cowpoke Paul throw it, and then what he does afterwards, and then Christian Noir threw it. And what he did afterwards, totally different. Like, and I was like, these are character moments. And I was like, you guys need to start thinking about. And then I threw mine, and mine's different too. And it's not the execution of the clothesline. Everybody does it kind of the same way because you have to, right? Because that's part of the language of wrestling. But all the things you put around that are so important. And the thing is, and this is what makes wrestling so beautiful but so hard, you have to do that with everything. And that's the part. That's the real challenge.
String it all together.
Why
right?
does a Glenn Spectre scoop slam look so fucking different from like Christian Noir scoop slam or Cowpoke Paul scoop slam? Like why do they all look different? even though they're all doing the move the exact same way, and everything mechanically is the same. Weird, right? There's a reason, because our characters are different. And what we do during and after, and the way we set it up, and the language of it, the facial expressions, especially the facial expressions. So like, just like being reminded of how important every little tiny thing you do in wrestling, every moment, every second you're in a ring is a chance to present your character. That was probably my big takeaway for the week.
Awesome. Go into the chat room. We had a couple in here. Dave Ponder says, I learned that even as an atheist, I believe in Joe Hendry.
Hell yeah. Oh, that dude, when we were talking about wrestling themes, that one came up.
He had a great, it was on TikTok. I think he was talking to Chris Van Vliet and talked about a lot of the parts of that are from a band that he was in a decade ago. And he remembers he was putting together a song and never came together. The part where he says in Tokyo and he's naming all that, he's like that part of this song that I was working on was stuck in my head for the last 10 years. I find myself singing in the car, so I put it in this song when I was putting it together. So it's awesome. It's amazing.
The music wrestling connection is wild.
Yeah.
And it all, like, obviously it all traces back to the Freebirds with Freebird, and then the rock and wrestling stuff with Cyndi Lauper. But like, the number of wrestlers that I know that are also musicians is like wild.
I can tell you this: my taste in music I've gotten from wrestling, 100%.
Yeah.
And Chris Taylor's thing that he just did with
Jericho.
With Jericho, holy shit!
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the Patreon because I got to hang out there for that.
Yeah,
it was a fun show. It was a lot of fun and very surreal to watch Chris Jericho singing Kiss. So, you know. Also, Tina says, I've learned that the words I took from last night are consequences and arrogance. With Rhea Ripley and such.
Agree.
Also, apparently Junior walked into the room and she says that saw your Misfits shirt over there and said, he has good taste.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, and there it is, the tattoo.
He got me into the Misfits.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Misfits are great.
Good man.
I remember when your Spotify and then Misfits stuff started coming up, and I was like, yeah, we're on the road. Yeah.
I learned that I need to have more longer conversations with Lord Zoltan.
Oh, yeah, Zoltan's a wild one. Maybe
I'll talk about that on Patreon. So thank you so much. The Troublemakers all over social media and probably coming to your town soon. You guys going to hang out here for Patreon with me for a little bit?
Definitely.
We'll try not to be here until 2 a.m.
Yeah, tease up.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much. Where social medias, anything like that.
Canaan, you're first. We'll just
do the round. Do the round. Where you at?
Social media, Facebook, Canaan Kristopher. Instagram, it's Canaan_Kristopher1. And I believe that's also Twitter as well.
Look at the show notes to see how he spells his name.
I'm Glenn Spectre, T-R-E, not T-E-R. I just thought of that when you said that because I'm like, oh yeah, sometimes people spell it the wrong way. But I'm Glenn Spectre on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And hopefully, maybe one of them has an underscore. I don't know. Like, that's how bad I am at this. But please follow me on Instagram. Honestly, that's where I have the biggest following and where I post most of the best stuff. Like, because Twitter is shit. Let's be real.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Unfortunately, most of wrestling is there. So, yeah.
You can find me on Facebook at Lexus Synn. You can find me on Instagram. Same thing with Spectre. I have a bigger following there. I post more stuff there. It's a better
platform.
It is. It's Savage_Sin official, and then I am on Twitter. But I think it's just Lexus Synn. Don't vote me on that because I'm never on it.
I think that's one thing for social media. Don't get overwhelmed with all the platforms. Find the one where people are responding to you and just dig into that.
Yeah, Instagram's the main one I'm on.
Yeah, Facebook is Tyler Brooks, and both Instagram and Twitter should be T Brooks Official. Yeah, nothing crazy.
Just in case we didn't think it was actually him or something.
Hey, there's some weirdos out there, man.
There's another wrestler.
There's another Tyler Brooks who wrestles in like the Upper East Coast.
You know, the weirdest one is the other one is the T Brooks feet pics. Is that also you?
No, that's not me.
What about what is this?
What?
You have a feet pic?
I
What?
just totally made that.
And again, the rule that we always put out there to help young wrestlers: no free feet. Guys, thank you so much. This has been the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Stay tuned if you're on the Patreon feed. We'll be doing the Patreon right after here. And also, the Mad One learned that Mother's Day came late this year with I think the action last night. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next time. Next week we're gonna have we're doing a pre-taped interview with one AJ Alexander, who I think landed coming from Japan as Beastman was going to Japan.
Yeah, for real.
They may have high-fived over the Pacific or something like that. I think that's the way they go, right? But I don't know. I went over the North Pole when I went out to Asia, so I don't know how that works. But thank you guys, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Mayhem out.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.
He's the guy who can't
He's the guy the Fed found out about.
They're like, no.
He's the guy in the documentary.
Yeah, he did. Hold on. Wait till I start. Hold on. Let me get that. Hold that note. I want to get them some headphones to share at least to hear you, and then.
My wife said, because she knows how much I get emotional about wrestling, like in terms of like my passion for it and stuff. She was like, everything was really great, and she was like, I'm really proud of you for not crying when they said nice things about you.
I was worried about you for a second. I thought I saw that tear in his eye.
Lex was getting emotional, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's because there's a thing there. It was more than I said. There's a thing.
Oh,
there.
I know.
Speaking of Joe Hendry, he's on NXT.
He was like the first thing you saw after the post-credits.
Brother, you might not be Patreon only yet.
Why?
My wife just said. My wife was like, "You're still live," because she was laughing about the.